The microphone picked you up saying that. Do you care? Do I need to stop it and go back and delete what you said?
No, I don't care.
Now everybody's like, what did he say? Enhance the audio.
I don't care.
What if I podcasted with my back to you like this?
Enhance.
You used to do that. Like when we first started doing Sight and Sound and I came over.
Because I couldn't help it.
You would.
You can help it. I can't. Or couldn't at the time.
You kind of did an Eric there.
Well,
I could help
I
it.
mean, it's just the way my room is situated. I don't know what you want me to do.
He did a pretty good job in that music, didn't he?
A guy only has...
For afterthoughts.
I forgot to plug him again.
God. So...
I mean, he posted the weekly riff on his Instagram feed. We're talking about Eric Mulder. You can follow him on Instagram at Eric Mulder Music. He posted his weekly riff video, and it was the Collider Afterthoughts theme song. And I tagged Fernandez and Ellis and Christian in it, and Ellis liked it on Facebook, so I got him maybe some attention. We'll plug him. We'll do that plenty.
One of my favorite things is this idea that we talk about these random people who have never been on Sight and Sound before. They're like really inside baseball of our friends group. One of my favorite things is when they actually participate in our Facebook group. And in my mind, I'm hoping somebody will be like, oh, shit, it's that guy that they talk about sometimes.
That's what
like
happened
Matt
with
Wilson.
Matt Wilson.
Well, I had no idea.
Crazy.
I don't know if I'm sure I invited him or you
I think I
invited him.
invited
We probably
him
both invited him.
ago.
Yeah,
Matt Wilson was the guy that we talked about a couple weeks ago, the whole Colin Trevorrow.
We literally
Jurassic
talked
World.
about him that week. Like, I think Sight and Sound Weekly was out with us talking about him, was it not?
Okay, yeah.
I think.
So, for one, it was amazing. It was just good enough that he commented randomly on that specific story.
And then just bounced.
And it was even, the cherry on top was that people knew who he was. And so, yeah, it was perfect. And then he never said a word about it. And Patrick Meadows ousted himself because he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, it's because Patrick probably doesn't listen to Sight and Sound. That's something Jay and I talk about. Who in our group actually listens to our content? I know he watches your videos. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, man. The video stuff is becoming strange for me right now because doing the videos on YouTube, I don't like doing them for the sole fact that they just require a little bit more effort to do than doing this podcast. But I'm starting to enjoy doing those sound offs like a lot. Like I really like doing them. So yeah, there's that. I don't even know why I brought that up right now.
That's good. Yeah, I don't like talking about our programming.
What? I mean, we have to.
I'm not of
promote
course we have to
things.
plug. I don't like. I like us talking about things. I don't like us being self-involved.
Well, this is just simply not true because we talk all the time about the experience of what we do.
Yeah,
People want to know. People want to know.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a broad
about the
discussion
creative process.
Yeah, if it's a broad discussion like that, but I don't know.
Wasn't that what that was a second ago?
Yeah, maybe I was halting you from going any further.
Yeah, you slipped into some weird like get out void, like you sunk into.
That's what I feel like all the time with this whole. It just
He's in one of these moods.
I am. It's just I'm not the Snelling.
What happened to that one day when you just came in here like I work at Dollar General? It just came out of nowhere. Like I want that guy back.
Yeah, you know,
you got a new friend. You're gonna go hang out with a new friend.
Yeah,
we both have new friends.
He hasn't texted me back. I don't
well,
know
he doesn't like you. So,
speaking of, can I tell you this story I've been waiting to tell you all day? It's great.
Didn't you just tell me this story?
I haven't. What story did I tell?
No. Okay.
No, that's not it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, sure, go for it.
This story is great, and please don't just say yeah at the end of it.
Yeah.
You're gonna love the story. It's so much fun, and I can't believe it happened to me because I could not have written something funnier. It was a sitcom moment, and for those of you who don't know, I constantly live my life as if I'm in a movie or a TV show.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Sometimes things happen that you just can't make up, and it happened to me at work today. So, me and my boss Charlie are standing up at the counter, and I'm behind the register at the time. And the FedEx truck pulls up, and so we get packages. Sometimes they deliver cigarettes, like gift cards. Like
I forget that Dollar General sells cigarettes.
Cigarettes.
Do you guys have E-cigarettes?
No.
You don't?
Please don't do this.
Why?
Ask me questions when I'm done.
I'm curious. I was just
Part of
curious.
this story comedically is the momentum that
Yeah.
it carries. All right, so the FedEx guy walks in, and it's a FedEx guy I'm not used to, and he hands me a package. And the first weird thing that happened is, I swear, I turned to him, never seen this guy before, and he just says, like, it just might as well have been gibberish. I have no idea what he said.
Right.
And I took the package, I looked at Charlie, was like, what the hell was that? And he didn't know, and that's the end.
Mumble
I'm
mouth.
just joking. That's not it. So I take the package, and the package is addressed to us. I hand it to Charlie, and I'm tending to a customer. He's opening it, and he's standing like 3 feet away, but he opens it, and he goes, what in the hell? And I look over, and with the hole that he tore open, I can see a piece of paper with the Hustler Hollywood logo on it.
Oh, yeah?
And there's nothing in our store that resembles anything like that.
You guys don't carry smut.
And it's definitely not a magazine, that's for sure, because just the way it was shaped. And so I was like, well, take a look at the address label again. So the address is correct, but it is a woman's name.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, so we were, this process took about 10 minutes where we were just like, what is this all about? So we were thinking, is it an old store manager? Is it someone just playing a joke? Like we came up with all these ideas, and we had no idea what it could possibly be. So he opens it even further, and it's a Catholic schoolgirl outfit.
Yeah, of course.
And something else. So, but we looked at the bill, and this helped us decide this is not a joke, because it was like 2 items that were worth $25. So a $50 package we had here.
Right.
So we had no idea why we got this in the mail. And so I was partially joking, and I said, Charlie, why don't I look up so-and-so on Facebook?
Yeah.
So I did. So I found a woman who lives in Lexington, which is not where I work. So
Right.
30 minutes away. She works in Lexington. It was a match. And then I found a Facebook page with this person's name -model, like a page you could like.
Yeah.
So on those pictures, she's wearing like a Hooters girl outfit. So some sexually induced pictures.
Okay.
So we were like, wouldn't it be funny if this is somehow this, right? But what's interesting about our address is that it's a suite in a shopping complex. So
Right.
it's a very specific address.
Yeah.
Several minutes go by. Charlie walks away. I have no idea what to do with this thing. It's just kind of, I'm checking out a customer, and in my periphery, someone walks in, and I just have to say hello. That person ends up just standing there for a second, and I can see him out of the corner of my eye as I am tending to this customer. Then I turn and look at her, and I see her, and I realize this is a stranger. Never met you in my life, but I know exactly who you are.
Yeah, of course.
So I was inside of my head. I was laughing. I was like, I am looking at that girl on Facebook.
Yeah.
I just looked up 10 minutes ago. So she looks at me and says, so did you guys just get a package? And I was like, yeah. And I am trying so hard not to laugh, because she has no idea that I
you
know
looked inside.
that I opened it and looked inside, because we get packages all the time. I had no idea that I wasn't supposed to open it. So she goes, can I have it?
This is all alleged, by the way.
It's what?
This is all alleged. We have to say that because in case you illegally opened a package, this is all alleged. Yeah.
So,
This is all for Ryan's screenplay he's working on.
That's right. It's definitely going into my movie. But anyway, that's beside the point. So I turn my back to her to go after it, and I grab a shopping bag, and I was just like, oh, here, let me bag this for you. And she can see that I have it torn open. And so I hear her from behind me go, oh, so you opened it. Like really upset. And I said,
oh, no.
I said, yep. And I handed it to her, and without thinking, this is what I said. This is how I said it.
Sorry about that.
No. She is clearly embarrassed. has no intention of saying another word to me. As I'm handing it to her, I go, "Yeah, I thought about messaging you on Facebook." And she walks away. And at the time, I didn't think anything of it. Charlie walks back up front, and I'm already laughing. I said, "Charlie, did you hear that?" He goes, "Yeah, I heard it." I said, "Oh, no." He goes, "What?" I said, "Charlie, the last thing I said to her was, I thought about messaging you on Facebook. My intent was to tell her I had the package. But
right.
she probably thinks I wanted to message her on Facebook because she ordered a Catholic schoolgirl outfit like I was a completely gross, disgusting human being.
A creepo.
So not only did I have one of the greatest series of events in my life when it comes to interacting with a stranger, she probably had one of the worst, most embarrassing moments of her life. And I could not have imagined a better scenario.
Yeah, things like that happen. When you see, I mean, obviously that was a pretty rare occurrence, but
it's great.
When you see behind the curtain of people's lives, it can be very fascinating, very interesting. I don't have anything to hide. You guys know all about me. I don't have like a, you know what is, I mean, I'll tell you the weirdest thing that I've got in this closet right here. Talk about skeletons in the closet. Probably one of the weirdest things I've got in here is like I do have a woman's Hermione outfit because my ex-wife left it in here and I'm just too lazy to clean out this closet and throw it away.
Can you put that thing on Indy?
No.
We should do that.
I legitimately sat Indy down today. Okay, here's what I did today. Got up this morning and decided it would be a good time to collect some data, some information by seeing which of the dogs, Indy or Dolly, had the softer ears or head. So I was rubbing both of their heads and their ears because everybody knows the softest part of a dog is the top of their head and their ears, silky smooth ears. Just out of curiosity, what are your predictions? Who has a softer head? Who has the softer ears?
Well, I only pet Dolly.
Right.
I don't touch Indy with a 10-foot pole.
Of course.
Based on the health of the animal.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with either of them.
I think
it's all cosmetic.
Indy's a wacko, though.
I can say the same about you.
That's true. Anybody that's not me is a wacko to me, but
right.
Everybody thinks that I'm a wacko.
Yes.
So it's my world.
So by default, you think both?
It's got to be Dolly.
I mean, I knew going into it, but I've never. If it's kind of like a retro review that I do on YouTube, I've never listened to the album with a critical perspective. I've never had to touch my dogs from the critical perspective.
You know what? I'll give Indy the ears because
interesting.
I think he has peach fuzz ears, whereas Dolly just has hair on her ears. I think he has more peach fuzzy ears, which might be as soft, like a peach-like ear.
Yeah.
So I'll give him the ears.
I was going Indy for both. Right?
Ooh.
We're talking about the dog culture crown. I was giving it to Indy.
It's clever.
So I touched both, and my takeaway was that Indy did have the soft head, the softer of the head on the top, silky smooth. I know it's strange, it's crazy.
Indy, get in here.
Ears. Dolly actually took it.
Dolly's
she has by a hair. She had the softer ears.
Kids, get in here.
And that was my morning. Also got buzzed off of vodka and soda.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Are you buzzed right now?
No, that was a while ago.
How many of those did you have?
2.
You said like an hour ago you were going to Kroger to get vodka.
I was joking.
You had already done it.
Well,
I had already sobered up.
I went to a restaurant. Spent $60 on brunch.
Those tax returns, though?
No. Most of my tax return went to you for Adobe. Yeah.
That sucks.
And also having to squirrel right now for my upcoming
my
upcoming vacation.
Why did you get less than me on tax returns?
What?
Why did you get less than I did on tax returns?
How much
is it because you're in a higher bracket?
How much did you get back on taxes?
How much more did I get than you?
How much did you get back? I didn't spend.
I'm not going to say.
I got
I got 400 more than you. I know that.
I got $900 on my tax return.
I got 300 more than you.
Okay.
So I just thanks a lot, Jay.
Yeah. So that could be
you got to be a higher bracket.
Could be a number of things. It could be that specifically. I don't know. I mean, this isn't interesting at all for the podcast. I claim 0 on my taxes. So, but
it's not good radio.
The year before I got like 3,000, which was nice.
There's no way, Jay.
You want to know
but we had the same problem, and it affected us completely differently because I pretty much got the exact same amount.
The whole idea of, but it could also be in terms of write-offs too. Like,
yeah, okay.
Sometimes you can have more write-offs, sometimes you can have less. I'm not going to say it on air.
Yeah, you're right.
But Kayla's tax return, which is even strange, she even got a tax return because she's a independent contractor. She doesn't pay taxes on the money that she makes, but because of her write-offs,
or independent contractors.
I'm sorry?
Business owners or independent contractors?
No, it just doesn't work like that. So business owners do not want to make profit at the end of the year. You do not want to do that. Because if you do that, you have to pay taxes on that money. So you have to find another way to make your money.
Like The Price is Right.
Like basically paying yourself a ridiculously small salary or whatever the case may be, or just figuring out ways to live your life by writing things off on taxes. Anyways, dear Lord.
Yeah, the years in the head. I just don't want her. I don't want her to think I judge her.
Who? Oh, that girl?
The Catholic school girl.
We're done with that.
My fellow, I told a story to another employee that came in later, and she goes, "Why don't you walk down there or message her on Facebook and let her know that you should apologize?"
No.
And I said, "No."
Yeah, just let it be. It's fine.
You don't. This isn't an argument.
No. I'm just.
I already told her
throwing it out there to the world. People are wondering what my opinion is on the situation.
Let it be. She was cute though. I mean.
Okay.
And I know her name and Facebook page. So.
All right. Well, now you're being a little creepy. It's been a nice Saturday. We're podcasting. I don't know about earlier. We're podcasting in a weird time. We either do it way earlier than this or we do it way later than this. A couple weeks into afterthoughts, feeling good about things. I talked about this on my music show, but I was kind of curious on how this whole getting involved with these PR companies was going to go. And it paid off. It really paid off with this A Perfect Circle review that we did, that I did. And it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to be able to listen to things that other people can't. Like to be able to go in our inbox and be like, haha, I've got this album and you can't hear it.
I know, because when it was came time to review Under Oath, that thing had already leaked.
It leaked,
so it wasn't as special as
it's hard to gauge.
Yeah.
When are we going to be able to get screenings or screeners?
So, I hung out with Austin Burke, fellow YouTuber and film guy. He told me, I asked him how he went to screenings because I knew he did, but I know that Lexington and Louisville don't do screenings. He lives in Lexington, works in Richmond, which is further south, drives to Cincinnati.
Yeah, no.
Now, I said, you're a psychopath.
Yeah, no.
You're a psycho.
Hey, man, you can review movies like everybody else. Just watch them when they come out. It's fine. It's too big of a space. It's too big of a space to have to go out of your way to do that. But if you're passionate about it, then whatever.
I was going to say, I don't think he cares. I think he likes it.
Yeah.
Plus, he can get in another movie. He can get in a second movie by the weekend.
For sure.
Because of that.
No, I get it. If I had the opportunity to see movies for free.
You won't tell him to his face?
I don't even know if I would do it.
You won't tell him to his face?
I'll tell him. I'll be like, dude, that's too long. That's too far to drive.
I already told him. I mean, it's pretty absurd.
That's cool, though. Yeah, to each their own. Everybody's got their things that they like to spend ridiculous amounts of money on.
I might get a laptop.
That's good. I just got an iPad. And guess what? It's fine. It's just something that I look at.
Why did you
things
get
on the internet? Because obviously this computer is my Mac Mini is used for work stuff. And, it's actually getting older. So it's just going downhill from here. The laptop is also primarily just for work too. And the laptop does not have a lot of storage on it. So if I'm on it, I'm prone to doing things and saving things to it that I just don't want to do. Like I just want to use it for work type of stuff. And I just wanted a device. I needed a device, where, I could just use it casually, but it also has the ability to use the Apple Pencil, which is nice, which I did the t-shirt thing that I showed you on it. And, it's a lot of fun.
So you recently got that laptop.
And then you bought a year.
Huh?
It's been about a year.
Has it?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I wrote it off in taxes.
So you got the laptop somewhat recently. You just got an iPad, and are you gonna have to buy a Mac Mini again?
No,
soon?
if it was up to me, I wouldn't even have that Mac Mini, to be honest with you, because
even with all the music shit you're doing, because when you're producing music, you can't save it to your laptop. You just said. You're doing all your separator and somewhat?
So I do all my music stuff. I do music, all my editing here.
That's my point. That's the thing that's going downhill.
The only thing, but it has far more storage on it. It's fine. I mean, it's fine. It works good. This laptop is way outperforms this. Like the components that are inside of it.
Yeah.
So, but there's nothing wrong with this right now. So I'm not just gonna unplug it. I would definitely not get another Mac Mini. What I would do is I would get a like one of those, I don't know what they're called. I forget what they're called. Like a mount that you basically just drop your laptop in, and it ports everything to your TV, and it also has an external hard drive built into it.
Yeah.
Tech Talk here on Sight and Sound.
Sturgill, my buddy Sturgill, he wants to start Sight and Sound landscaping.
Okay, cool.
But he wants it to be an actual business, so I think he's gonna come in and he might pitch it to us one day.
Okay,
because you know how
cool.
Nobody
Are we investors right now? We don't have any money.
Nobody has ever come up with the idea to start a landscaping business.
Some money in that, I feel like.
Yeah, but at least everybody in my hometown has a landscaping business.
Right.
There's no market for landscaping.
Yeah.
You can do that thing where you paint the grass. I don't know how many people in Frankfurt do that, where you paint the grass green. That way you don't have to worry about maintenance.
I told you I'm going to be going on a vacation in July, which I'm excited about. I'm excited to just get away and not fucking do anything. Like, that's exciting to me. What's not fun about that trip? You know what the average high is in that part of the country?
The average high
in July?
Oh,
it's 110 degrees.
That's awesome.
Out in the desert. Yeah. It's a little bit weird. I'm going to Palm Springs, California, and / Joshua Tree. But one thing that I learned about that area, pools there, most pools like for hotels and this and that, resorts, they're just open to the public. So their thing about not having, so let's say we got an Airbnb, right? Didn't have a pool, which would be kind of a bummer. And you don't really want to go to the public pool in an area, but that's not an issue. That issue is not an issue if every pool is essentially a public pool.
So people that are just around there can decide to go to the hotel pool.
Yep. The Ace Hotel, are you familiar with what the Ace Hotel is? Ace Hotel is like it's a chain.
Isn't that in Gotham City?
It's a chain of hotels that are like super hipster, super like artsy, and I don't know. They're just weird hotels. They're very, very, very expensive. Like I looked at staying at one and it was just dumb. It was dumb how expensive it was. But I could still have that experience because their pool and bar area is open to the public. So I could just go swim at the pool and chill at this place.
Ace Chemicals. That's what it is.
Not looking forward to scorpions and rattlesnakes. And
there's rattlesnakes.
And tarantulas, not necessarily for me.
You think that are people just equipped with anti-venom around there? Is that a commonality? Is that a word?
I don't know. I have no idea. The thing about California that is strange to me is it annoys me, the people that live out there that want to go like to vacation in other spots. I mean, I get why you would want to go vacation there, but like I will have been, when I go for this, I will have been to like two completely different sides of the state that are just so vastly different from each other. It's like you could go to so many.
Is your point that people in California also vacation in California? Is that what you're saying?
I think they should do it more. I mean, I'm sure they do. Like, for instance, I know my best friend, Michael, he does these, he'll do like weekend getaways that would be like the equivalent of us going somewhere far away to like go stay in some beachside bungalow. And you know what I'm saying? Like these weekend getaways like that, like they can just do that and be in a completely different terrain. Basically another planet. Like if we fly into LA, which is, you know, city, it's sprawling and this and that, drive 45 minutes and we're in the goddamn desert. Like, it's just like, not only just the desert, you go up a fucking mountain and it's snowing. It's ridiculous.
Have you heard of Coyote? Oh, what's his last name? He's a famous YouTuber that just gets bitten by shit.
Yes, he's been on Fighter and the Kid.
Really? What's his last name?
I have no
Brunson
idea.
or some shit?
I have no idea, but he came on Fighter and the Kid, and as soon as he left, they were like, he's a really nice guy, but my God, his attire, his fashion is like all in about this shtick that he dresses like he's on safari all the time.
Right.
Which
He's
is
out in the woods.
Yeah.
I saw him get bitten and stung by a bullet ant.
I've seen that one.
And you would have thought that man was shot in the
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
It was so gross.
Did you ever see did you used to watch Wild Boys?
Not really. I don't know why I didn't get into that.
I own Wild Boy seasons on DVD. Like, that's how big of a fan I was of it.
On my way.
And they did that. They did the bullet ant thing.
Was it better than Jackass? Or was it just...
Jackass, the shtick of it wore off after a while. Like, I was like, some of this stuff is just stupid. Some of it's silly. Some of it's just gross. Like, with the animal stuff, I actually thought that was pretty cool. Like, the fact that they were just interacting with... You know what I can't do? You know what animal... Like, even just seeing it, I'm just like...
Cockroach.
No. Jellyfish. Like, I've never been stung by a jellyfish before. And I think they're cool looking. Like, I don't mind seeing them or whatever. But, like, there was an episode where Steve-O, they did a jellyfish sombrero, and they took a fucking jellyfish and they put it on his head. And I was just like, I can't do it.
His head was essentially swallowed by a jellyfish, right?
Essentially.
It just kind of gets absorbed.
Yeah. I've only had one in... I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before, but, like, I went through a period of my life where I was just like terrified of the ocean. Just like fuck that place. I'm not about it. So, but then I started going to the beach again, and I was swimming in the beach, and I was like, you know what? This isn't as bad as I remembered. Because sometimes you go to the beach and like you're swimming in fucking seaweed and kelp, and it's stupid. So I went to the ocean one time and was swimming, and it was fine. I was like, this isn't that bad. Could see the bottom, everything, no big deal. So the last time I went to the beach, I had that same thing, and I was just swimming. I mean, just having a great time. And I'm swimming, and I hear, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? You know, just I'm like fucking backstroking.
Was it the FedEx guy?
Probably. And I just see them pointing. I see right next to you, and I'm like, what? And I turn, and there is just this fucking, I mean, Barney purple glob, like within, I don't know, 2 yards of me.
Where is the person that can see it? To you, like
so
how can
they're
they
probably
see it next
they're
to
probably
you?
50 yards away, maybe 60. Well, it's
On higher ground.
Well, it's the ocean where the waves are moving.
All right.
And if you see a giant fucking purple glob
bit,
mass, so I saw this thing, I was like, ah! Like started swimming as fast as I could, and I mean, it scared the shit out of me.
Was it by itself, or was it like a hive of jellyfish?
It was just one, and it must have been dead because it ended up washing up on shore, and it was like, bleh. I mean, it just looked like a giant used condom. That's what it looked like, filled with cum.
That's gross.
Yeah, filled with cum. You ever seen one of those? That's what it looked like.
Why did you do that?
Just a jizzy.
Why are you
Just-
doing that?
Because it's making you uncomfortable now.
Because that's not our show.
That's
I want it to be our show,
where-
but it's not our show.
that's where Dong comes from. Team Dong. We're gonna talk about this. Let's talk about.
I wanted to talk about kayaking in the ocean. Well, I kind of just did.
I'll tell you what I.
kayaked in the
I'll tell you what I don't want to talk about is fucking TV. TV is awesome right now in the sense that there are 2 great TV shows on, but we can't talk about those same 2 TV shows. Like,
well, I mean, if
all
I
the
was
time.
watching Trust, I think Trust would be good.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
I still haven't watched Lost in Space. I hear great things.
did you
so I
check
haven't
out
watched that yet.
Westworld premiere?
No.
I haven't either.
You know why?
You don't have HBO.
Because it's not out yet. Because we're
Oh, it's
recording
not?
this on a Saturday.
Oh yeah, that's right. It comes out tomorrow. I thought it came out last week.
Did you see the what's the thing called? The panel, the Westworld panel that got shut down. So
No.
you know how they do it? Jonah Nolan's up there and James Marsden and I can't remember who else is sitting up there.
The more we hear from Jonah Nolan, does he kind of annoy us?
No.
Why did I say that? Annoy? Does he annoy us? I think he's kind of annoying.
It doesn't bother me. So anyway, they did this
Stick
whole
to
like,
words on paper. Go ahead.
they just had this whole hour-long panel and so finally the moderator's like, oh, we got a couple minutes, we'll give it to the audience for some questions. People are standing out there. So for one, it starts out so awkwardly because there are 0 lights on the audience. So the people, they're just looking around and they hear this voice like, oh, excuse me. And so everyone's like, Jonah Nolan and the moderator, like, I think we're having
I can't
issues.
fucking see you. Like, that's,
Yeah. It was so awkward how it
what'd
started.
you say?
And so finally they get it together. And so they're like, okay, what's your question, sir? So he doesn't start out with a question right away. He just starts with an anecdote. Like, I just wanted to say I really enjoyed season 1. And he's going on, love season 1. I love that you were able to do, and everything he said made no sense at all. It was essentially like, I love that you were able to execute that idea on screen. Like, it was just like a nothing.
Like very
statement.
broad.
It was just, well, you could just see the confusion on everybody's faces. He keeps going. And finally he goes, I just wanted to say you and your brother are my favorite filmmakers, and me and my brother are screenwriters, and I hope that you read one of our scripts one day. And
This motherfucker hijacked the mic.
Jonah Nolan just
I will
said,
say this. Sometimes you kind of got to just go for it. So I do respect it a little bit, I guess.
Jonah said thank you, and then they
And that was it.
and they shut down the Q&A.
That really? After
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They were just like, no.
That show sucks. So we'll talk about some other TV stuff later. But
What else is there? We do Let's Talk Legion every Wednesday. Thursday. It comes out on Thursday.
and it's still great. And Atlanta is also still great.
Yeah, there you go.
Mind blowing, mind bending. Okay. There's our TV talk. Let me just throw this out here. We can go off in one of 2 directions. Let me just say that pop culture right now is like a fucking ticking time bomb ready to explode. Let's just run down real quick some of the stuff that's coming up in movies. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Avengers Infinity War. We also have Deadpool to look forward to and a Star Wars film. And then we've got just an abundance of album releases that were announced here relatively recently, including this Kanye and Drake thing.
Which is your Star Wars.
Drake is my Star Wars. Kanye like transcends any comparison to that.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ is the right way to say it. So
He makes some music. Great.
So actually, I do want to get your take on this real quick. So you were doing whatever you do during the week, and this news dropped, and I posted it. I posted about it. Shout out to Luke. Of course, Luke was the first one to notify me about this thing because I don't know what he's doing all day at work. I feel like he's just constantly refreshing Twitter. Not even Pitchfork. It's just Twitter. He gets a lot of his stuff from Twitter. Anyways, this Kanye stuff drops, and I posted about it. And of course, we're coming off the back of our Yeezy bracket challenge that we did, and I didn't know how it was gonna go down. I thought people were gonna be like, "Oh, that's cool. It's interesting." That that post, I mean, it had so many comments. People speculating about music that I don't usually get that from a lot. Like, we talk a lot about how music, it doesn't have this collective consciousness behind it that movies does. But so many people that I didn't even know even cared that much about it, just wildly speculating. What is this? What could this be? Da 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 da. Like, all of this information, all of this news just came flooding out at this one particular moment. And it was a lot of fun to just talk in a fan group about all this stuff. Did any of that at all bleed over to you?
Well, no. I voted in like 2 of those polls.
But see, here's the thing that I find fascinating about it, because, and this is why I think you're a little bit of an anomaly. Like, I think you're a little bit like of a outlier for the sole fact that when this happened, it was sort of like a black hole. It was like pulling people into the conversation. I figured, if anything, you would have at least said, what's going on here? Like, I mean, this took over the internet. When Kanye West announced all of this stuff, the internet broke down. I'm even talking about outside of the bubble that I live in.
But I mean, it barely means anything. It, like, to me. And even if you get rid of the fact that I'm clearly not into music as much as you are, but being excited about music, it's such a hard thing for me to do, because especially Kanye, especially Drake, things like that, because there's something about me knowing, not that it can't happen, I guess. There's something about me knowing that even if this record comes out and I like it, it's not the type of music that I typically listen to. Therefore, it's not as long lasting to me. It can't be sustained. So those albums age very quickly to me. So Drake is sort of the anomaly, because I do like going back and listening to different Drake.
I think Drake ages really bad.
I like Drake songs, though.
Right.
I mean, I like a lot of Drake songs on all of his albums.
So let me pull this back real quick. So I'm going to make a statement, and I think this is true. I don't think it has anything to do with the music. I don't think it has anything to do with the album. Kanye West is such a gigantic figure, love him or hate him. Anytime he moves, especially so for those that don't know, 2016 was he owned that year. He literally owned it. The lead up to the life of Pablo, so big that he rented out Madison Square Garden for a listening party. He didn't perform. He didn't do anything. He walked in with fucking Lamar Odom, Frank Ocean. No one even knew what he was doing at that time. And he stood at his laptop and hit play and sold out Madison Square fucking Garden for people to watch him hit play on his laptop.
Imagine if LeBron James, everything LeBron James is, still exists. But when he plays basketball, he averages 15 points a game, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. Imagine LeBron James might get through the first round of the NBA playoffs all year, but everything else about LeBron is LeBron. Like, even with those numbers, he's still the biggest name in sports, and he's the most important thing in sports.
Right.
So imagine how goofy that reality would be if the biggest name...
That reality exists. If he's the
biggest name in basketball and in sports in general, when he performs, you only get that. That's what Kanye is to me. Kanye is big to me, and I get why he's big, but when I hear the product that he makes, I'm so underwhelmed by it, and I just don't take it in the way that other people do.
So, again, we'll stop. I'm getting down to the point of, in my opinion, why specifically you're like this. So, again, going back 2016, owned the year because of the lead up. The album drop was also ridiculous, crazy. Do you know that the album changed multiple times throughout the year?
Yes.
So that happened. Obviously, his shoe brand and his fashion brand and all this still is constantly talked about. That never went away.
Right.
His tour became something that people talked about. The floating stage,
Yes.
it became a thing where people were just watching videos every time that he performed because it was just this crazy thing going on. Kanye owned 2016, especially for music, without a doubt, but just he was constantly on the name. He was constantly on the tip of people's tongues, his name. And all that went away. All that went away when he lost his mind. He
got sick.
He canceled shows. He canceled a show I was supposed to go to. He cut shows short 4 songs in, started going on rants, had a mental breakdown, went to the hospital. All of 2017, he didn't just like take a step back. He was non-existent. Like he just wasn't out, wasn't doing anything, went off Twitter, all that stuff. And then everybody is constantly speculated, well, when is he going to come back? People following him around. The conversation that we have, the type of speculation that we have about movies that we're used to, people start having that, right? If Kanye is always in front of you, you can get kind of numb, right? You can get numb to, okay, Kanye's doing Kanye shit. But when he goes away and you don't know what's going on, a lot of this speculation started happening. Whole like Twitter bubbles were out there, like, geo-tracking where he was and connecting people's Instagram posts because he retreated to Wyoming to work on an album, started like figuring out who was working on the album with him because of where people were tweeting, like triangulating their locations to figure out this person is working on Kanye West's album in Wyoming. And then all of a sudden, still no idea when this is going to come out, comes back on Twitter. Great, cool, whatever. It's weird that he's as active as he is, talking about like life lessons and just really energetic for somebody that was gone for an entire year, acted like he was never gone to begin with. And then all of a sudden dropping sledgehammers. My album is coming out June 1st. It's 7 songs. By the way, a week later, I'm putting out another album with Kid Cudi on June 8th. And I'm going to call it Kids See Ghosts, which is awful. But I mean, people, it was just crazy how people were talking about it and people were reacting to it. So much of Kanye West is his music, but his music, in my opinion, for what makes him as big as he is, that's the thing on the bottom of the totem pole. It has as little to do with his actual music than anything else. It has as much to do with his influence. It has as much to do with his lifestyle with Kim Kardashian and all this other stuff. His relationships, the way he talks, him calling out Taylor Swift and all this stuff.
Is he going to beat up Tristan Thompson?
No. So I think if you're just looking at it from the perspective of his music like you are, then yeah, it's easy to be like, well, you either like it or you don't. But if you're wrapped up into the things that are more than just the music, then obviously you can sort of grab on to the hype and the energy behind it. The best thing about being, let me ask you this. Do you think the fandom of Star Wars supports people's experience of watching the movie? Like, do you think that the fandom that we have with Star Wars, you could get that fandom by just going to the movie theater, watching it, and going away and never having conversation about it or anything like that?
Yeah.
You still think that it would?
People do that all the time.
With
most people that go into Star Wars excited about Star Wars have only seen the 2 trailers. They aren't speculating who Benicio del Toro is playing.
But the movie is as big as it is because of the energy level. I mean, in my opinion, the movie is the franchise is as big as it is because of the energy that the diehard fandom that exists with that bleeds out into the rest of society.
Yeah, but
it becomes a conversation. You've got to see Star Wars, right? I mean,
Right.
same thing with these Marvel films and this and that. Like,
But with that, you're talking about the product. So
right,
you left the Kanye discussion saying it's much more about the product,
right.
so his music. So if you're talking about everything else of Star Wars, people don't need that to get excited. Whereas you're selling me on
right.
the everything else of Kanye West.
And
So to
that's
me,
what
those
I'm saying. I think you've never been exposed to the fandom of Kanye West before. Ever. I don't think you've ever been exposed to the hype around
I mean,
Kanye,
I was a
the
fan of
coverage,
Kanye's music before it got weirder and weirder.
but not like this. You've never followed along with, like I said, with the speculate. You've never been involved with the type of hype around. I mean, I don't know. Have you ever been involved around the hype of an album leading up to an album before? Just like the same type of speculation
I
that
have before.
you do for, I guess, Under Oath was
Under Oath is
pretty
like that, but
close.
just growing up, I mean, every Prada album I used to
Yeah.
freak out about. There were a lot of examples like that.
Right.
It's this specific one. It's about Kanye that I'm not the everything else that you're talking about. I'm just not fascinated by it.
Right. I think I would be interested to see how this all plays out, because I think some of this stuff, if you're, especially with the rest of our Facebook group, I think there will be so much that happens, because I've gone on record as saying Kanye West will never drop a surprise album. It just won't happen. He can't do it because he always has to talk about what he's working on. He has to. So, we have the luxury now. I've not criticized Drake for this. It's been unfortunate with Drake releasing surprise albums that we don't get to do the type of lead up that we get to do for an Under Oath like we did. Like, so much great content came out of the build up to that Under Oath album.
Sure.
Same thing with this. I mean, and once the ball starts rolling downhill for Kanye, it picks up speed very quickly. This is going to be something that if it happens, like, I have to throw that out there. It could not happen, except he did just post some artwork for his Kid Cudi collaboration.
I mean, what I will say, though, in anticipation for these two albums, I cannot imagine me not finding something that I hold on to. I haven't listened to Cudi in a long time, not since his debut.
You're not missing much.
But that's what I've heard. I can't imagine that between those two albums, I will not gravitate towards something.
Right.
So, music has been good to me this year.
Yeah.
And overall, I've just felt great about it. So I'm excited to hear both of Kanye's albums.
If they haven't.
If they have. Also Drake.
Right.
I'm excited. I want to be excited. But the outside stuff that you're trying to sell me on, it just doesn't fascinate me as much as you, I guess. So I've been outside of the fandom.
Right.
I'm outside of the fandom.
I'd be interested. Like I said, I'd be interested to see what happens with the rest of this. Like, if we get anything close to Life of Pablo, I think I've talked about it before, but like that whole piece of paper that constantly was getting written on for the Life of Pablo, where people were just randomly making notes on it and had like all these random celebrities,
Right.
like stuff like that even was fascinating. I'm sure there's Reddit groups all over the place that are just losing their mind right now. I do want to talk for a second though about this album coming out in June, these two albums coming out in June, also Drake releasing an album. You have, without a doubt, I won't even entertain an argument with anybody. Drake and Kanye West are the two biggest names in rap and hip hop music.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
What would someone else argue?
I feel
Who
like
else can you throw out there?
somebody could throw out Kendrick Lamar, but I wouldn't agree with that. I mean, because Kendrick Lamar, in terms of how good he is, of course, and he's very commercially successful, doesn't hold a candle to what would happen. I mean, you could actually throw Logic in that argument, but it wouldn't. He would still be.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that.
So those two individuals releasing an album in June obviously sends ripple effects through music in general. I've gone on record as saying too that rap and hip hop has been very oversaturated lately with how much stuff is coming out, and I feel like the bubble could potentially burst or something like that. This changes everything, because we will, so far this year, well, I'm sorry, by the end of June, if the Kanye albums come out, we will have had a Drake album, a Kanye West album, this Kendrick Lamar project with Black Panther, which is still massive. It's still huge. A Logic mixtape that came out.
Bobby Tarantino too.
This new J. Cole album was released this year. I mean,
And I've heard it's great.
no, it's mediocre at best.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
Who
won't
told
say-
you it was great? Who told you? Was it Sturgill?
No. Sturgill doesn't. He's a dad. He doesn't listen to music. I won't say the name. It's not someone who told me directly.
Okay.
I saw someone's reaction to it, and
Yeah.
they were very high on it.
We saw some. Okay, I know who you're talking about. Well, it was interesting because I wasn't the only one that shared that thought. I saw a lot of people in the group that thought that it was just they were kind of middle of the road. I think Brandon Turner really enjoyed it. Anyways, all of those people releasing albums, Kanye and Drake both releasing albums on this not only the same year, the same month. It changes everything for the landscape of rap and hip hop music and a lot of pop, or not pop music, a lot of music in general, because I mean, both of these artists have crossover appeal into other genres, of course. And anytime Kanye West puts out an album, love him or hate him, or enjoy his new music or not, he is literally single-handedly changing the trajectory of where the music genre is going to go. The rap and hip hop music we have today is still influenced by 808s and Heartbreak, still influenced by Yeezus, whether people like that album or not, and even Cruel Summer. I mean, that whole mixtape project that he did, a lot of trap music is pretty much linked to that project today. And I don't know if we'll get like the Life of Pablo generation of individuals where people were inspired by that album. I don't know what that looks like because it was so much of a mixed bag. But I mean, anytime he does anything, it's like that. And stuff like that, I guess, sort of exists in movies too. Like you'll have a big director that does something groundbreaking and people try to go and like I see a lot of like Roger Deakins copycats. Like it seems like they're trying to do they saw Sicario, so now we're going to show a lot of like sweeping overhead shots of like landscapes and stuff like that. That I'm like, did Deakins direct this? That's interesting.
That's not specific to Deakins, though.
Of course
I mean,
it's not, but of course it's not. But the way he utilized certain things like that, I mean, anytime anybody does something great, you're going to see a lot of people be inspired by it, obviously, going down that road.
I mean, sure, there are absolutely trends.
Yeah.
And there are times when a movie will come out and a TV show will come out, and it's so unique and interesting that it sort of gives everyone else permission. Right. I mean, that's sort of the
trends and trendsetters.
Yeah, but it's also just Glow is a great example. I think they talked about it on Fighter and the Kid, right? Where they were talking about how nobody ever wanted a wrestling show until Netflix. Where did I hear this? Was it on Fighter and the Kid?
I don't think so. Maybe. Might have been.
Maybe it was Lebitard. But they were talking about how they had pitched wrestling shows in Hollywood, wrestling movies, and sort of the wrestler was sort of an anomaly. But up until Glow came out on Netflix, nobody wanted to touch wrestling with a 10-foot pole because they thought it was too, I don't remember the word that they used. But Glow gave everyone permission, and I think there are like 3 wrestling shows that have been greenlighted right now. Like it's not Black Panther will be another great example. Black Panther will give all these Wonder Woman will give studios permission to do things that they were afraid to do, and that's how dumb Hollywood is. Not to say the music industry is necessarily dumb. I don't think it's done in that kind of spirit, but
I think we see a trickle down of stuff that like is really popular. Well, maybe not a trickle down. We see echoes across all different types of industries because anytime something is popular and the industry tries to capitalize on something specific, I feel like they're always pinpointing the wrong thing. Like with like with a lot of metalcore music back in the day, we'll just sign any band that screams and sings. It's like it's not really the point, but with Game of Thrones, I feel like people were like, well, we're gonna make a swords and sandals show. It's not. That's not specifically what's making people watch the show.
Part of me thinks that like there was a time in metalcore, especially, or post-hardcore, that a band was just going to be big because it was produced by said person.
Joey Sturgis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just because they were able, that producer, that engineer was able to make it emulate whatever else was popular at the
Well,
time.
to his credit, he was a known songwriter too. I mean, he wrote a lot. Emma Rosa's entire debut EP was pretty much written completely by Joey Sturgis.
And I'm not even talking about like a band playing the same type of music as another popular band. I'm talking about the sound of the actual recording and mix. It was like, if you have this branded recording, you will be signed to this label,
right?
Therefore, be this big, etc. So
yeah, and you see that in so many places, man.
And that's part of what killed it, at least for us, because
even in podcasting, you see that. Like with Fighter and the Kid, you see a lot of sports shows trying to combine like a sports personality with a comedian, and they're very outspoken about that. They're like, you can't just put two people together and have the exact same results.
That's what happened with the NFL got Anthony Jeselnik and his best friend, who they're both into the NFL, but it was Jeselnik couldn't be Jeselnik because it was an NFL podcast,
right?
Like branded by the NFL, but it was like they just sort of crammed these two together because one was a comedian and one was the sports guy. So,
yeah, it's interesting.
I don't know where that podcast is now. I don't know. They literally, it was one of the worst produced podcasts because they would record it as if Jeselnik could be himself, and then they would edit it.
You could tell.
And it was massively edited to the point where they just implemented a sound effect that was like, it was essentially the equivalent of George Lucas's screen wipes, but it was a sound effect that was like 10 minutes later, but it was just like an annoying sound.
Yeah, it
was like it had just basically skipped over Jeselnik maybe doing a bit on something that was inappropriate.
Wouldn't that drive you crazy if we recorded this into? I mean, it would probably be like an hour and a half episode or something like that, maybe longer, 2 hours. And wouldn't it annoy you if we spent all that time doing that and you came or you went to look at the podcast and it was like 30 minutes and I just selected like certain things that I thought was the best to stick in? Like,
it was weird. That's what I used to do when I started podcasting. I would listen to whatever we did. It might be an hour and a half.
Right.
And I would think to myself, this podcast shouldn't have this 1 minute of us going off on a tangent.
Right.
And I would just take out 1 minute as if that was a problem.
Right.
And it's funny how things change because I don't think twice about that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's room to be more to the point, right? I think doing our other show like TV, our TV episodes are so like we don't bullshit hardly at all on our TV recaps. No. Like we know people are there for something specific.
Well, it's funny that I bring this up because for the longest time I haven't been self-conscious about a podcast at all. But then I texted you a couple weeks ago. I had listened to Binge Mode by The Ringer.
Yeah.
And it was the first time in a long time that I became self-conscious of podcasting.
Yeah.
Because I was so turned off by everything they were doing.
Yeah.
I hated it. And I was like, wait a minute. Does that mean that people are going to be turned off by what I'm doing? I thought we were laid back. I thought we were relaxed. I thought people were patient with us. And it's like,
man, I don't think people can do that. And in fact, my own personal advice to anybody listening that has a creative endeavor, if you have an idea for something and you really fucking believe in it, just do it. Just do it 100% with what you believe. I see so many people out there that are worrying about changing according to a trend or this and that. Let longevity be the thing that gets you past so many people, because most people, your competition, they're just going to fucking quit. And if you just fucking do it the way that you believe in doing it, I'm not saying that you can't shift things here or there, but like I love our audience, but I'm not doing my show specifically for our audience or to cater specifically to our audience. And I think they want that.
That and one person every week who comes on and comments that they don't like the show means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Because based purely on the fact that you exist alone means that more and more people will find you. Like as long as it just continues to exist and it doesn't sound terrible, then you can still pull people in.
Yeah,
and I mean that's just True.
And there's some times where we have better shows than others. Like, of course, I'm not just gonna be like every show we do is great. It's I thought we had a great afterthoughts the other day. Sometimes walked away from episodes and be like, yeah, it wasn't our best. It's fine. It's all good. But yeah, what a weird side tangent to close up shop on on the Kanye stuff. I'm excited about it. I think it's really rad that he's finally back. I'm interested in hearing what it sounds like. The most bizarre thing with this whole thing with him and Drake is that I have no idea what it's going to sound like, because Drake, I feel like he's gone through doing the same thing for so long and just made very minor changes. I have no idea what this album is going to sound like. We have that single to go by. It sounds like shit that he did like a decade ago, which is weird to me. I don't know why he would go back and revisit an old style or an old genre. Or
They're friends, right?
oh, besties.
I was going to say they're good friends.
They allegedly have an album together that exists. So
why would they let each other come out? Is that competitive?
I don't think it's competitive.
It doesn't matter?
Well, Kanye has no desire to be like a chart topper. I think Drake wants to be at the top of the charts and this and that. Like Kanye, you still can't get a physical copy of The Life of Pablo.
They don't think anything of it.
No, they don't care.
The fact that they're friends and they might be competing for the summer.
No, in fact, I think they might even probably talked about it. They probably said, let's fucking do this. Let's do this together. They have a great companionship with one another.
Yeah.
They live in the same neighborhood. They literally live down the street from one another.
That's good.
In Calabasas. Well, I think Drake primarily lives in Toronto now, but I have no idea what this Kanye album could sound like. It could be a country album for all I know. I really have, especially the Kid Cudi one. God only fucking knows what that's going to sound like.
Remember Lil Wayne's rock album?
That's something I like to forget.
Oh,
have I ever told you that story about? I love I love music documentaries. I turned off that documentary about that album out of pure anger and frustration.
There was a documentary about that album?
Yeah, where he went on tour and was working on the album, and it showed him playing drums to one of the songs, and it was so bad that his backup guy was like, yeah, man, we'll see what we can use from that. And he walks away, and the guy looked at the producer and was like, we can't use any of that.
That was in the doc?
I mean, he just looked at him like, yeah, we'll figure it out.
I remember a great
This is freezing in here.
Lil Wayne doc. I think it was called I'm Me or something like that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. It was out on DVD and I watched it. And then there was another really great Drake documentary that came out. It was on MTV.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
It was shortly after he sort of really blew up.
Right.
So it's kind of old now, but I really
I think it's for
really
So
liked that at the time.
Far Gone, maybe?
Yeah,
Or
it
maybe
was really early.
Or Thank Me Later.
Right after he exploded.
Probably he exploded. Probably
Yeah, he exploded.
one of my biggest against the grain music opinions that really shocks people is I do not like anything that Lil Wayne has ever done. In fact, even when I hear him on features, I'm just so put off by it. But I know people absolutely love him.
That's partially who I was speaking to when it came to music that can be sustained, because there was a period of my life where I did listen to a lot of Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
There's no way I could go back and listen to it with the same.
Yeah. It's never appealed to me.
No way.
You are 100% right. Where rap, in my opinion, a lot of rap music that's in the moment right now usually has a lot of, or it usually has sort of a short half-life, if you will, or a short lifespan.
I think that's popular music in general. I think it's popular music that ages so quickly, because even hits that are 2 years old,
right?
When I hear them, I'm just like, ugh, this again?
Yeah.
Because there might have been a certain amount of time where that's all I heard over and over again because it was being played to me, or
it just
whatever.
depends on the ratio that they're going in on a said specific trend, right? I mean, if for instance, Justin Bieber's last album being so wrapped up in a mixture of EDM music and alternative R&B, those two genres were so trendy at that moment in time that he just went all in on them. So I'm sure once 10 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, those are kind of sound a little dated.
Is it bad that I've literally never heard or seen the name of that DJ who just passed?
Avicii? Really?
Never in my life have I ever seen that name.
You've heard surely you've heard some of his songs.
I've never heard of him, and I've never read that name before it happened.
You would probably, if I played you a couple songs, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I've definitely heard this song before." I mean, I know for a fact that
it was just one of those times where I felt old, and I was like, "Oh, that's a thing."
I mean, his passing was strange because there were so many people. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
He was my age.
I don't know the best way to say this. I was sort of. I know EDM music is like a weird anomaly, like how big it is,
Sure.
and how maybe not necessarily how big it is because it's something that anybody can really listen to and enjoy, but. I don't know. When I see the numbers that these people do, it's just like mind blowing. Unfortunate, definitely unfortunate for anybody to die that young.
Absolutely.
But this is a guy who had sort of retired from music, like retired from performing music because of health issues from drinking and this and that. But he was still working on music, still putting out music. I didn't know that he worked on movie stuff. So hashtag transparency. Legitimately pulling back the curtain. Anytime I see Collider reporting I'm going to say this on Afterthoughts next week. Anytime I see them reporting anything on music, I get a little defensive. Like I went into watching that video. Did you know they reported on it? Did you see that? Yeah, they reported on his passing, and I was like, why are they doing this?
The only time I remember thinking that about music is when Dorian said happy birthday to Chance the Rapper.
Yeah, that was strange. But no, I went on there and I was like, why are they reporting on this right now? This isn't. But then they let it off with, I didn't know this, but apparently he had his hand in working on a lot of scores, and I just didn't know that. So, but yeah, definitely unfortunate. I enjoyed his music. I thought he was a really, really good producer, an artist in that regard. He pretty much, he had a big hand in setting the trend of like artists like the Chainsmokers, like that Fall Out Boy album that just came out, like blending a lot of him and Zed, like blending a lot of pop and electronic stuff. So that's it for music stuff. Let's take a quick break. I'm gonna turn off the air conditioner because it's fucking freezing in this room, which is weird for me to say.
And I have to pay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get a sip of water. Come back, talk about Infinity War, and can I ask you, can I make a request for this discussion? Can we put together our team? Like, I'd already done this, but I want to put together our team that they did on Collider.
You're gonna have to give me
a lot
some
of
time,
fun.
but yeah, we can do that.
Okay, let's do it. We'll be right back.
All right.
Wait, where's my keyboard? I gotta hit pause.
Right here.
Hit
Right
pause.
here, Jay.
Hit pause. Bye. We love all of our Sight and Sound listeners. Now, I'm saying listeners with extra emphasis because if you aren't subscribed to the Sight and Sound YouTube channel, you're missing out on a huge chunk of Sight and Sound content. Ryan is holding it down with all of his movie stuff. I've got album reviews and retro reviews. We've even introduced some new video shows as well. Ryan and I are both doing trailer and music video reactions, and I just introduced a new music discussion video series called Sound Off. Go ahead and complete the Sight and Sound content cycle and subscribe to the Sight and Sound YouTube channel, link in the description box of this podcast. All right, before we talk about Infinity War, I remembered a tale that I needed to tell here on the podcast. It's Papa J. He's back on keto. He's keto as fuck right now. You want to hear how keto I am?
You just follow keto.
Sort of. Yeah. So first of all, let me just say this. For anybody out there that's interested, I don't actually believe that keto works. What I do think is happening, I think keto, just following a strict guideline like that for health, you're naturally going to eat better.
That's why it's easy to come up with a miracle diet.
Exactly.
Because any diet involves restricting your body of something
Yeah.
that you may or may not have a problem with.
Exactly.
And that's why people are. I mean, you select your own diet.
Right.
So if a diet says get rid of soda and only drink maple syrup, then they're going to do that and deprive their body of soda.
Right.
And of course they're going to lose weight. That's why just switching to diet soda, that's all you have to do.
Or cutting out beer.
You will lose some weight. Of course, losing weight is just like
right.
It's just like climbing a staircase over and over again. The more you do it, the easier it gets. So the harder it actually is to make it work.
And there's always a plateau for just like purely changing your diet. But so, and the other thing about that too is like, well, to what you're saying, most restaurants I go out to, they don't always have a ton of keto options. So usually I revert to a salad. Well, eating a salad is always going to be better than eating. Like it's just
every diet.
It's so simple.
Here's a salad.
Yeah,
every diet ever.
It's legitimately that simple. But the other thing about keto is, like the other day I went for lunch. I went and got some salami and cheese, and I started eating the salami, and I got some shitty salami. So I had like 2 bites of it and was like, "Oh, this is gross." Threw it away. Well, yeah, of course it's going to work. I essentially didn't eat lunch that day.
Right.
But no, the other day too, I had ordered a salad from the brewery over here by my house. And I also ordered something for Kayla, even though she was still working and I hadn't heard from her. And that's always like a risk, ordering food for her at night, because it could be hours before she's home.
Right.
Or she could call me and be like, "Oh, I actually already had plans. I just didn't see your message," whatever. That's exactly what happened. And I ordered her like fish and chips, and
ooh, that sounds good.
it's really good. So,
but you're keto.
Actually, yeah. So I have this meal, this fish and chips meal just sitting there. And I'm like, man, it smells good. It looks good. So I open it up and I get these fried fish fingers, is what they're called, actually. Called fish fingers. And the deep fried batter. It's not keto.
Right.
So I start tearing this shit up. I'm eating it like Danny DeVito as the Penguin in Batman Returns, like legitimately gutting this thing. I'm eating it like corn, like just going ham inside of this fish, peeling away like deep fried batter. And at the end of it, my hands were greasy as shit from just getting to the white fish. And I just look at this pile of fried, skin, I guess, that was on the outside of it, just being like, I am just at the bottom of my life right now.
I'm sure you looked pathetic.
It was pretty, even the dogs were ashamed. I just let my hands out and just let them just lick all over my fingers.
Do you remember that day
I licked my finger
when I came here with like 24 wings and I was just eating them? And
were you
asked me
keto
what
then?
I'd gotten, and asked, what?
Were you keto then? Oh, yeah. Did I ruin this story?
I was like, yeah, I didn't get fries. I didn't get buffalo chips because I'm keto now. You said, Snelling, these are boneless wings. They're breaded. Oh, it's not keto. Not at all. So, I mean, it was helpful. See, that could fall under maybe not keto, but another diet, because I didn't get that starch.
Yeah, for sure. Wings also, not all wings, most wings, the bone-in wings are keto, especially the ones with like a dry rub or the Parmesan garlic from Buffalo Wild Wings, or just the ones with straight up buffalo sauce. It's keto, dog.
Yeah, dog.
Let's talk about some superheroes. Did you get your tickets?
I literally told you a story that I got my ticket. So yeah. We already talked about that.
So you took to the internet. I saw this on Twitter, and you were talking about not having your Infinity War ticket, which was bizarre to me because
what did I say?
You were just like, man, like I shouldn't have waited so long to get my ticket.
It was a picture caption, and that was just something I said. It wasn't true.
When did you get your ticket?
Before I posted that. I don't know.
Okay.
Like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, maybe.
Well, so that reaction, regardless of if it was true or not.
Yeah, I just said a thing.
There were other people. There were other people out there who were talking to me about not stressed out because didn't have their Infinity War tickets, and I just didn't have that problem. Not only did I not have that problem, I'm going to the IMAX showing, and
Well, because
I
they
got
add more shows
I
over
got
time.
the seats, the exact seats that I wanted in that theater. And so I was asking people, I was like, man, I just didn't have a problem getting them. Like, what? And everybody I've talked to with this is the same response. And I'm like, what night are you going? And they said, well, I'm looking for Thursday. I said, okay, well, I got them on Friday. Well, I really want to see it on Thursday. Just wait. Just wait a day. It's
You
one
can't
day.
You can't tell somebody who's been waiting for this movie. I'm sure the people that you were
Yeah, but if you're
asking-
stressed out about it so much that you're literally telling me that you're stressed out about it, you just can't wait a day?
well, they also add showings
Right.
as shows sell out. So I'm sure that person was just waiting for them to sell out so another showing would pop up.
It was shocking to me that I got 11:30 on a Friday night in an IMAX theater
So nobody wants that.
with the seats that I want. That's what I'm saying. It's like that's to me the hottest ticket. It was pretty shocking that I got it. And I'm excited because I'm going to get to walk away with that beautiful, glorious special edition ticket that I'm going to get to hang up on my wall.
So I'm going Thursday night at 7, and then I have to book it here afterwards because we have to do afterthoughts. And
I thought we were doing it on Wednesday this week. We talked about
we
this.
could do that.
Yeah, we talked about
can
that.
do that. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. No, I don't. I get to go home and I can make content for you guys
Yeah.
on Infinity War.
It'd be good.
And that's what I will do.
There's our damn movie content on YouTube.
Oh, yeah? Mr. Hey, would you like to watch this TV show and do something about it? No, I'm selective with my time. I can't give myself to any pilot if it doesn't interest me.
That's because you want to do. First of all, that's a multi-week thing that I would
Not
have to
necessarily.
invest with.
Nuh-uh.
And you're asking me to do videos with you.
A pilot review isn't a... I mean, I did the counterpart pilot
Right.
review. That was the last video.
How
that was
about
up there.
this? I'll do those by myself, and you can do some on your own.
When did I ever... Why would I challenge that? What do I care?
I don't know. I was just saying, just throwing out ideas.
Well, you said it like you were throwing shade as if that was a
No
compromise.
shade. Jay Williams doesn't throw shade. Okay,
I think you threw shade earlier.
I never throw shade.
I think you threw shade earlier. I can't remember what it was.
Throwing shade is like a.
Oh, you did throw. The whole start of this conversation was, "Where's our movie content?" That's throwing shade.
Throwing shade is you're sitting in front of me, so I just saw that as just a offhand remark. Throwing shade would be like a sign of disrespect. There's no disrespect in that.
Yeah, I'm not bothered by like a movie content.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
I can't see things.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can talk about movies right now.
You can you do the videos when you do see them?
Well, yeah, I do the videos when I see them.
You do them. Okay, let's talk about Avengers. Infinity War.
I thought you wanted to talk about what I didn't do.
There's never been a great Marvel movie.
False.
That's my take.
Yeah.
Never, not once. Been rewatching them a lot. There's been a lot of really, really good ones though. And I love them.
Iron Man is great.
I love them. Disagree. It's a good movie at best.
What's not great about Iron Man?
It's just, I mean, I call great movies like, I think Fight Club is a great movie. You would agree with that. I think Blade Runner 2049 is a great movie. I think Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is a great movie.
Sure.
It just doesn't. Marvel films are like Drake albums to me. You're never in a million years going to be able to get me to say that Drake was my number one album. For me personally, as a movie fan, I don't need them to be that. I don't need a Marvel movie to be great. But in my sort of how I rank movies, I just they always sit at best just fine.
So I think Iron Man is great. I think Winter Soldier is great. I think Civil War is great. I think Black Panther is great. I think Guardians of the Galaxy is great. What's wrong with Guardians of the Galaxy? Isn't that your favorite? What's not great about that?
It's a really good one. it's just a lot of fun. It doesn't break through to that like mind-bending, mind-blowing sort of experience that I'm looking for from a great movie, from a great film. That's just my take with it.
I think Civil War is mind blowing. I remember
Civil War actually gets worse for me every time I watch it. I think it's a fucking phenomenal film.
I think it's mind blowing in that the distraction of the solution that's in the back of Stark's car at the beginning.
Yeah.
You're led to believe going into that final act that they're gonna walk in with and fight 12 super soldiers.
Yeah.
And it's just a complete punch to the gut.
Right.
This is what we actually meant to show you. It's that Papa and Mama Stark were driving the car, and Bucky killed him. And
yeah,
that's not something, and shame on me, that's not even something I considered when I was watching all these Infinity War trailers. I never once thought about Iron Man having to fight side by side with the person who killed his parents.
Right.
Which is interesting. I hope they address it. I can't imagine that they don't, considering it's the Russo brothers.
Yeah.
And they've been on record to say that a lot of what factored into Civil War was, predicated on what would eventually happen in Infinity War. So
let's actually talk about Civil War for a second, because that's actually the one that I just most recently rewatched. And
when did you do that?
Yesterday. I'll tell you what's fascinating about that film is we talked about it when we did our review for it, just how you can go back and forth on what side you really feel more, you feel is more in the right than the other. And I always leaned towards Tony Stark's side a little bit more, for the simple fact that I just thought that Captain America Steve Rogers was just being a little bit too ridiculous about the whole thing. Like, he was just being a little bit too hard-headed about not wanting to. They never really had like a conversation. They had one minor conversation about, is there any way that we can just sort of talk about how this is going to go before we sign anything? It was either like, we're doing it or we're not. However, when Tony Stark goes into that room for that meeting with everybody for the first time to address all this stuff, and he's presenting how the fact that they've been so reckless and this and that, and Sokovia is like this huge thing that's overshadowing all these events. He never once really says that all of Sokovia could have been prevented if I would have never fucked up with Ultron to begin with. Like, it's weighing on his mind, you can tell, but in that conversation, he never brings it up once, and I'm just like, man, you're kind of letting everybody else take the blame for some of this.
Wait, he did bring it up.
He brings it up, but like in that conversation, he's
my fault.
In that conversation, yeah, he's never really he's putting the blame on them more than anything. Like, I came to this conclusion because this mom just came at me really hardcore.
Well, the Sokovia Accords were pushed onto them. So I don't know how much conversation they could have had. Here's how we can do this.
So
because it was either you're in or you're out.
Right. So after they capture Bucky and they capture Captain America and Black Panther because of that whole pursuit, and they come back and they're sitting at that table, Tony Stark and Captain America, they're having a conversation, and Captain America starts to come around to it. He starts to think like, okay, maybe we can work this out. Like, and he starts to have a conversation with Tony, and Tony does say, there's things that we can ratify. If we just sign it right now, we can ratify this. We can change things here and there and make it more. So they do entertain that idea for a split second. And what ends up pushing Captain America over the edge is the fact that they're keeping Scarlet Witch essentially a prisoner inside the Avengers building.
So I've pretty much always been on Cap's side.
Yeah.
But I don't like how he arrived at it, because it's selfish.
He put a lot of people's lives in danger.
It's selfish, but if anybody else were to take that stance and sort of lead the movie,
agreed.
Then I would have been with it.
I agree.
But he's so emotional.
Yeah.
When he comes to arriving at that decision, but so ultimately I do agree with his point, but I don't agree with how he arrived there.
Right. Yeah. I agree. I agree with you. I agree with. Ultimately, I'm still Team Cap overall, though.
There's still so much shit. It's crazy how much shit has to go on in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about the speculation when it comes to what's here and what's in Avengers 4. A lot has to happen here, and it's a lot of people coming together, but also it's 2.5 hours. It's like, how in the world there's going to be a lot crammed in this movie, and then there's going to be another movie? Like, it's crazy how much material is going to be covered in both of these things, let alone this 2.5 hour. It's just nuts.
So we talk about this a lot when we talk about these movies, especially these big tentpole movies, something that has a lot of excitement leading up to it. What do you need from this movie? Because I think every film, that question is different. And for every franchise, it's different. And for every person, it's different. What I might have needed from The Last Jedi could have been something completely different from what you needed. What do you need this huge blockbuster epic event to be from you? Or from what do you need from this movie?
I need a couple Avengers dead.
Okay.
I need Thanos to live. Well, I mean, I guess it just depends. Obviously, they could, if they wanted to kill Thanos, if Thanos does die, it might be a beautiful death.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, when it comes down to teasing this villain for the past 6 years, if you don't automatically make him the best Marvel movie villain in a way,
right,
I think that's a disappointment.
Of course.
If I think Loki is a better villain than Thanos, then what the fuck did I wait for? You know? So I need Thanos.
I've never thought of Loki as being a particularly great villain. I've thought he's a great character. I think he's a really good character.
I agree.
But I've never really looked at him and been like, that guy is super villainous. Like, I've never felt he was even that threatening. He's is sort of mischievous individual.
I was going to say he's mischievous. He's sort of a mixed bag. He can sort of go either way.
Right.
So I've never been as high on Loki.
I think Michael Keaton's Vulture is one of my favorite villains.
Michael Keaton's Vulture, Killmonger easily. I like Ronan. I'm not saying that Ronan did a lot in the movie, but like when you assess what was going on paper, I find that very interesting. When it came to them breaking the treaty, and I thought that was all really great. I like the first Iron Man villain as well, Obadiah Stane.
I thought it was a good villain.
There are still a lot of Robert Redford's character and Winter Soldier I like okay. There are a lot of villains that I think don't necessarily fall under the lacking Marvel umbrella because it's ridiculous to make the Marvel has a villain problem. And then automatically,
Mads Mikkelsen has to be the quintessential terrible Marvel
that's
villain.
my point. So when people just come to the conclusion of Marvel has a villain problem, there's no way that you could lump Robert Redford with Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
It's like,
or Ronan for that matter.
There are still tiers of villains in the MCU. It's not they're all terrible but Loki. I mean, come on. Let's be realistic here. So, you know, I
thought Hela was kind of disappointing. She's fine, but
I
think Hela, I expected more from her.
I like Hela in the way that I like Ronan. I think, I think it's super cool that she's actually Thor's sister. Spoilers.
She's killing the fuck out of people.
I was gonna say she actually kills people. In cold blood, right in front of us, as opposed to kind of just doing it offside or off camera or whatever. So. I thought Hela was cool.
Hella cool.
Yeah, actually, I'll give you that. Anyway, I just don't have that problem. I need Thanos to. Okay, I'll just say I'll need Thanos to be the best villain. I mean, if I think Loki is better, then what
the fuck? Let's have a little.
I need some deaths.
Let's have a little bit of fun, real quick. And I know we have a little thing we're gonna do in a bit, but
I have one more.
Okay.
In the way that the Avengers had some really great matchups, like That was one of the best parts of watching Avengers unfold for the first time, was the team ups or the mini battles that we had, like Thor and Hulk in the, what do you call it, helicarrier, when they were fighting and doing all that stuff, and that was some of the best stuff. So getting to see those kind of matchups and seeing these particular characters have their own back and forths, like I want great first introductions between Iron Man and Peter Quill. All of that stuff I'm looking forward to.
So, real quick, and we'll get into this little fun thing that I want to do that I haven't prepared you for, but that's okay. You don't need to be prepared for this. What I need for this, I often go into a lot of these Marvel films saying that I just need to have a good time. For this one in particular, the stakes are a little bit higher than that. This is like a great finale of a TV show. I loved every second of Breaking Bad. Going into that finale, I needed it to be amazing to live up to what the rest of the series was. With Lost, it was a little bit different. I didn't love every second of Lost, so I didn't need a lot from the finale, which is, I think, why I'm probably higher on it than most other people are. We're both higher on it. I need this to have stakes, pretty much like what you were talking about with people dying. And I just need it to be, I can't fathom this movie having 1 second of downtime. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
In a 2.5 hour movie, I can't wrap my head around, I can't imagine a film existing where it feels like we're going off and doing something else. Like, I just think that can't happen. There's too much going on. Let's have some fun though for a second. I want to play a game called Yes, No, or Maybe So. I want to talk about things that could potentially happen in this movie. Not necessarily like what they do with Collider, like the scoreboard thing, but first things first. Do you think that there are things that will happen in this movie that in terms of people appearing and showing up, and that we just have no idea about? Do you think there's going to be a moment where you're watching this movie and you see something happen on screen and you're just like, holy shit, I had no idea this was going to happen?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think it could come in the form of a cameo or an appearance?
Yes. I think we're definitely going to get Captain Marvel.
So that's okay. So yes, no, or maybe so, other than Captain Marvel, do you think there will be an appearance from a character, a notable a notable Marvel character that we didn't know was going to show up in this movie? Or maybe that hasn't been built.
That already exists in the MCU?
No.
For example, Mr. Fantastic. Is that what you mean?
Sure. Something like that.
No.
Yes, no. Okay. You're going to
No.
say no. I'm going to say maybe on that, because I think this is such a big movie. I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to go pretty far out on a limb. I think somewhere in this movie, in the background or something in passing, we may get a cameo potentially from somebody that's been on TV for Marvel, whether it be
Why do you say that?
Because they're tied in, and it's
just
a celebration.
Like Luke Cage? Is that what you mean?
Or somebody from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., maybe. I don't know. Somebody,
okay.
A character like that.
That
it would be
actually...
easier. It would be easier to do that than, like, I would actually be pretty shocked if they panned across, like if they were doing the Spider-Man in the bus, him going and chasing after the big circle, and they panned across and, like, we saw Jessica Jones, just a shot or something like that.
Well, I was actually going to guess Mary Jane. Like, okay. But I don't think this is the movie that's necessarily going to tease other movies in that sense. Like,
right.
So the reason why I answered that the way that I did, it's because if they're going to include or introduce anybody, I think it's going to be a main prominent character coming up. That's why I give Captain Marvel that pass. But I don't think it will be the first time we see Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy necessarily. Like, I don't think he's going to turn and say hi to Gwen on the bus.
Yeah.
I don't. This movie
doesn't need that.
Well, that I just don't think we have time for it. I think it just we already have so much to do with all of these characters. I don't think that they're necessarily going to introduce seeds of characters in that
Yeah.
way. But it's really cool to me if they nonchalantly bring in like a Chloe Bennett from Agents of Shield.
Right.
I think that would actually be pretty cool. I don't know what it would mean to bring Coulson from Agents of Shield into the movies. That'd be weird because he's dead but not dead, and he's prominently announced to be in Captain Marvel. So why didn't he get announced to be in this movie? It's like I don't know if that's gonna happen necessarily.
I could easily see something. I'm low on this, what I'm about to say, and I actually don't think it's going to happen. But I could easily see something like if some sort of fight with like those throwaway, let's say like a creature, small creature made of grass is like terrorizing the streets of New York. If they're just showing chaos, and maybe all of a sudden they show like Luke Cage punching one, and you just cut away. Like you could easily do something like that. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
but
I
I'm just saying,
yeah.
if this is a celebration of Marvel.
Right.
I could easily, especially more from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. side than anything else. Moving along with some other sort of speculative sort of things. Do you think that do you think that somebody like Spider-Man specifically is going to walk away from this movie playing an even bigger role going into the next one? Because I think right now, as it stands, we look at Spider-Man with a lot of potential, right? He's had a great rookie season, and but I don't really see him like going off and being like making any one particular standout thing where he's gonna like take down Thanos in a really particular moment in the film.
I think that's a very obvious yes.
Okay.
Just because
And I guess a more general question is, do you think we're going to have one particular character or another that maybe is unsuspecting that could come out of this as being like, damn, that person is elevated to another level? And I guess Spider-Man is an example of that.
it depends on if, well, it might only happen for this movie. But if they gave Hawkeye some additional powers and he
Ronan.
is,
You're familiar with,
if he is Ronan, because he was shot wearing the costume. So
oh really? See, I didn't even know that.
he was wearing a trench coat, but he's wearing, you can see when he's walking, when his legs come out, he's wearing the Ronin costume.
Oh wow.
So
That's pretty cool.
If they do something like that, I don't know if it's going to be, it might just be for that movie.
Yeah.
But I think it's just obvious when you look at the future MCU film slate. I mean, the only ones that are on deck are Black Panther 2, Guardians 3, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man,
Ant-Man Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. So that's another thing too. Like your original question was, how much will we get from a character we're not expecting, or how much will we get from a future Marvel character? We still have questions about existing Marvel characters,
Right,
like
course.
Hawkeye and Ant-Man. So I think Captain Marvel is still a stretch. So when you ask me and you tack on, what about all these other things? It's just harder for me.
It's hard to wrap your
believe.
head around it. Yeah.
But it was just reported. I can't remember which actor said they did it, but an actor in Infinity War revealed that they shot scenes with Brie Larson.
Yeah.
And that just happened like a couple days ago.
I'm
But
pretty
it
high
could have
on
been
that.
it could have been Avengers 4 though. That's the only reason why she might not be in 3, because it could have been a scene from Avengers 4.
I'm pretty high on it. In fact, that's my big wild card. This is purely speculation. This is like the most John Schnapp thing I could ever do. I think we're going to get a scene where some shit's going down in the movie, not post credits, and Captain Marvel comes in and saves the day, and people are like, who the fuck is this? And maybe she doesn't stay for a long time, but she makes an impact and gets people
She does what
Fist-
Spider-Man does when he
yes,
drops into
fist
the airport.
pumping. Like the greatest trailer for Captain Marvel could potentially be Avengers Infinity War.
It's true.
And that would like make me super excited.
It's true.
All right, another thing. So what's that movie called? Doctor Strange. Sorry, that movie with Benedict Cucumber Bun. Introduce the time stone and doing all this stuff.
Right.
We know ever since we saw that they can do a lot. They have a get out of jail free card with that, obviously. Do you think within this movie, yes, no, or maybe so, that we're going to already see some implications of time changing the course of things within this movie specifically?
Um,
Could we potentially see people raised from or coming back that we thought were once
it
gone?
just depends. It depends on what fucking stones he has at what particular time. um, Doctor Strange has it. We did see him get tortured, so I don't know if that means that they take it from him at that point. Um, I think we might get a little bit of it. I think we might get a little bit, but if there's also some of it in Avengers 4, I would say it prominently exists in that movie.
Yeah.
But
The implications potentially.
I think the end of the movie could end on some kind of implication with like a slight change. And Avengers 4 could be a lot more of it. So I think that would be pretty cool. I mean, that would be a great way to keep Thanos around, but have him just make a huge mark on the MCU in the way that if you want Thanos to have the same effect as, say, Hydra existing inside S.H.I.E.L.D., something like that, I think that would be a real big game changer.
Do you think, with that being said, and that whole question being thrown out there, yes, nor maybe so, that we get to see potential fallen villains back? A lot of people are speculating about Hela potentially being in
Red
this
Skull?
movie. Absolutely. Do you think, maybe not necessarily, I think it's too much of a stretch. Maybe it's not. I don't know. You can have fun with this if you want to. I guess question one is, will we see any of those people in this film? Or two, will we see things happen that will open it up to see them in the future more? I think Killmonger being dead is like one of the biggest shames of the MCU. Like,
Thanos has no use for Killmonger.
Of course he doesn't, but if he does, if something happens within these next two movies that changes time, I think something is going to take place within these next two movies that can't be undone, to the point where,
Sure,
like a New 52 in DC,
Yeah.
like, it just, this is what's happening now.
Well, I mean, I think the even cooler question to me is, how will it affect other MCU movies? Not just Avengers 4.
It is unfathomable that Ant-Man and Wasp is the next movie to come out after this.
Isn't that great?
Like,
That's what happened after Age of Ultron.
but it's like, this is so big.
Yeah.
Are we either going to be dealing with what happened here,
I don't think we are.
or are they going to pull some shenanigans where this takes place before? I hope they don't do that.
See, I thought my original theory, because at the start of that trailer, he asks her, they reminisce, there's actual footage of Civil War in that trailer. I actually think that's a misdirect.
He's talking about,
and I think he's talking about Infinity War. So I think it's going to be a funny follow-up. It just makes no sense to me anyway, to go back to a movie that goes back to after Civil War.
Last one, and then we'll...
Plus, by the way, we have no knowledge of Wasp, and we definitely have no knowledge of Wasp being in Infinity War, but we're still unsure where Ant-Man is.
Right.
So Ant-Man could easily be like, hey, are you mad we left you out of Infinity War?
Yeah. Last one here for me, and then we can go wherever you want to go with this whole topic. Do you think, yes, no, or maybe so, that Avengers Infinity War could be a standalone film, and the fourth film could be something completely different, obviously tied into whatever happens here, but that the next movie could just be something, I'm not saying Thanos dies or he's defeated or whatever, but do you think it could open up to an even bigger problem in the next movie? Do you think we will see a contained film here? We have to ask this question because originally they were talking about doing it as a two-part, and then they kind of scrapped that. Not necessarily scrapped it, but they pulled back on what it was. They're leaving Avengers 4 very covered in mystery.
Do you consider Empire Strikes Back to be a self-contained film?
Well, no.
So, no.
So you think this is going to be a two-parter?
It will... I'm not saying... Yeah.
You don't subscribe to like the Kree theory, the Secret War theory.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a completely different story.
Right.
Like,
Right, of course, yeah.
If I don't think it would be as if in the way that Avengers came out in 2012 and Avengers Age of Ultron came out in 2015, and they're two separate.
Right.
That's not what I think is happening.
Okay.
I think there's a reason why they are a year apart, and there's only that one Ant-Man movie in between them. Yes, but I think there's a reason why they were shot back to back and they were a year apart. There's no way I think they have the same relation as Avengers and Age of Ultron do. I think it's maybe it's not as as close as Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Part 2, but I think it's going to have a sort of the same relationship as maybe like Empire and Jedi, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so let's have some fun here. I'm gonna just give some wild, crazy speculation. Like, this is the most like fanboyish conversation we could possibly have, just based on no logic whatsoever. I think this film is going to end with Thanos wreaking havoc on Earth. We don't know, but it's pretty much speculated that there is like a Earth team or things going on Earth, and there are things that happen more in a cosmic sense, where it looks like that's where they're fighting him on like a orangish looking planet.
They're on Titan.
Okay, yeah.
His home planet.
So we see that. I think by the end of this movie, we're going to basically, I think a lot of people are going to die. I think a lot of big people are going to die in Avengers proper, like the event, the core Avengers are, I think a lot of them are going to die. So I think he's going to leave Earth in ruins, essentially, and escape into a cosmic space, and people are going to be trapped in this cosmic space. And that sort of is what the second film could potentially be, like them trying to chase after and obviously fix whatever they need to fix and get back. But I also think the fourth Avengers film could be called The New Avengers, and we will get to see a new core Avengers that will exist without the likes of Tony Stark, without the likes.
So you think the movie's just called The New Avengers? Not
potentially.
Because it wouldn't make sense to call it Avengers, New Avengers.
Right, exactly. the new, I mean, obviously that's a comic book storyline,
Right.
The New Avengers, and there'll be familiar people there, but I think it could be a combination of people dying, but also people just no longer being a part of it, doing their own thing. Like, if we get more, I don't think Thor's going to die, but I don't know if he'll be an Avenger anymore. He might just be off doing his own movies.
I think they've done all they can do with that character.
See, that
I do.
I agree with you, except for the fact that I think Ragnarok is so, in my opinion at least, such a wildly different tone film than everything else that takes place. Well, maybe Guardians, but I think they showed so much more potential with that character doing other things. Like, I would be fine if they just had a whole Thor franchise that had nothing to do with the MCU that was just wild and fun and crazy. Like,
that's not me saying that Ragnarok wasn't a great turnaround. I mean, it was a great.
That's another crazy idea.
I just don't know if you can do that again. I don't know. I mean, yes, you can do it again, but to me it makes sense for that to be the end.
So a lot of people are talking about Secret War. Marvel has a few big cards in their hand that they haven't played yet. Obviously, Civil War was a big one, and Infinity War was a big one, and Secret War is also a big one. One that honestly could be really fascinating, but also a little bit, I think, confusing for people would be if they decided to play the House of M card.
Right.
If they played the House of M card, where realities were essentially split into two, and we had two MCUs going, that would be very crazy and very bizarre and strange.
The only problem with that, though, is that they have those movies already announced.
Well, that could be one side of it, obviously, yeah.
Or it could just seesaw. I mean, Black Panther 2 could be in a different universe than Spider-Man 2.
Well,
I think that would be weird.
It could give them a real reason to legitimately do more Iron Mans with a different cast, because I could be wrong about this. Kevin Marks would have to correct me, but didn't House of M birth the Ultimate Universe?
I don't know.
I could be wrong about that, but I mean,
what year did House of M come out?
it was like 2000
Is it late 2000s?
7?
That was after Ultimates.
Okay.
That was way
Yeah,
after
I think you're
Ultimates.
right.
Ultimates was early 2000s.
Yeah, you're right. But well, maybe
It was a
maybe,
millennia thing.
But House of M could easily birth like a whole new reality with new people. That could be confusing for some people, but I don't know. What else do you want to talk about? We have a little game that we're going to play.
So I don't know, man. I do, to your point that you made earlier, I do want it to be pretty dark.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want the characters to be funny with Thanos. Like, I know that there's going to be funny moments between Tony Stark and Peter Quill, but
you don't want him to show up having like an Ultron.
I don't
People didn't realize Ultron was going to be as funny as he was in the movie.
Yeah. I kind of want the Ultron that we deserved in that way.
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem with how Ultron was, I guess. I also haven't revisited
I want to
it in a
feel
while,
the weight of Thanos.
Exactly. And I don't want it to be a Doctor Strange Dormammu situation, I guess that was the
purple meatballs.
That was the shittiest ending involving a villain,
yeah.
I think. I was just so annoyed by that.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who actually likes the Mandarin twist.
I've never seen that movie.
So I'm trying to think of what else I want. I don't know. There's just, I think the thing that sort of throws a wrench into everything is that footage of Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy, because so much of what's in that trailer feels like it's either the very beginning of that movie or the very end of that movie. So like the Battle of Wakanda that we see, to me that feels like it's third act.
Really?
Sure. What else? If you put the battle in the beginning, what else is going to happen?
See that? Well, I mean, most Avengers films, including Avengers 3, also known as Civil War, they all begin with pretty big battle sequences. And you know who shows up? So
there's the scale of the intro of Age of Ultron is nowhere near what.
Yeah,
the
but
scale of
that's
the end fight of Age
it's a
of
pretty
Ultron
big. And I'm not saying it's going to be the opening scene. I could easily see. So okay, it seems like the first time we see it's not even necessarily true. I was about to say the first time we see Thanos on Earth would be in New York, but I don't think that's true. I think we get people in his crew in New York. I think the first time we see Thanos on Earth is going to be Wakanda. And you also have to think too, all the people that will come from Wakanda. We get Captain America in Wakanda. We get Winter Soldier in Wakanda.
I'm just thinking of the juggling act because
I think it's going to be in the middle.
I'm thinking of the juggling act because I think the very beginning of the film is Thanos hitting up Thor and Loki. Because that's sort of, I think it's going to be a lead in from Ragnarok.
Of course.
So I think that's going to be the beginning. And then Thor has to meet up with the Guardians. And then there's a portion of the movie where Peter Quill meets Tony Stark and Peter Parker on Titan. And that feels like their first interaction. So it's just goofy to me to think that might be like in the middle of the movie.
This might be dangerous what we're doing just because I feel like we're kind of piecing together the timeline of the movie.
I think it's impossible to piece it together.
I think
it's a great job by them.
So let's link some of this together. Tony Stark hanging out with Doctor Strange in New York. Also, Bruce Banner crashing in New York. We also know that Bruce Banner fights in Wakanda. So that has to go from one point to another.
And we haven't seen Thor on Earth yet, but Banner is back on Earth.
Exactly. So, and Banner was on the bus, on the Asgard bus, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
And then we also know that Iron Man, Doctor Strange. So let's just think that Thor never does get back to Earth. Let's say Thor hits up with the Guardians. Guardians go to Titan. Iron Man and Doctor Strange also go to Titan. I've never seen them in Wakanda.
Another thing is that Peter tries to climb on the wheel as it leaves Earth, but I think it was reported that he falls from it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't remember. Something led me to believe that he doesn't make it.
So I think,
But
so
he's on Titan later.
But Peter has to get his armor, right? He doesn't have his armor. He has his standard suit from Homecoming, and eventually he gets his armor. I'm thinking he meets up with, and we see this, meets up with Tony Stark and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is getting people from point A to point B.
That's true. But you know what? I just remembered a shot.
What a weird conversation it would be. Like, okay, Hulk, you're going to go to Wakanda. We're going to go.
I just remember the shot in the trailer where Iron Man is flying up in the sky and his feet become a rocket.
Yeah.
So I think he's following the wheel at that point, which means I guess he could grab Peter, and then that's maybe how they both get to Titan at that point.
But Doctor Strange can send people to different places,
that.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Interesting. This is all fascinating. I mean, could there be set pieces that we just don't know about?
Sure.
Of course.
Sure.
But we know of New York, Wakanda, and Titan.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
But we have 2.5 hours to fill.
It's crazy.
It's nuts. And there's still a lot that we're going to be able to. I think there's a reason why people like Carrie Coon are cast as Thanos's
the Black Order, is that what they're called?
I think so, yeah. There's reasons
if
why
that's not right, people are like, God damn.
There's reasons why people like that are cast. So
yeah.
I think we're gonna see some cool stuff from those guys too. I mean, there's just so much to do. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then of course, there's so much that has to be said for like bringing Cap back. Like we're gonna have to.
We've only seen shots of Cap in Wakanda.
Right. But there has to be scenes of like getting Cap back into the game because there's a reason why he's nomad. He probably wants nothing to do with that life anymore. There's a reason why he never went back to America because he's in hiding.
Has he been hiding in Wakanda?
Sure. Why not? Maybe he's not hiding in Wakanda, but
in like Africa or something.
I'm certain that he goes to Wakanda and hasn't been back to the U.S.
It's just kind of funny to think about. Maybe he's hanging out in that hut with Winter Soldier, like while all that stuff was going on. With
that would be the one reason why I would be led to believe that he's not hanging out in Wakanda, but he goes to Wakanda.
Marvel's actually pretty good at explaining a lot of that stuff. Like, hey, where were you while I was fighting Killmonger? I was hanging out in Morocco.
Well, that's sort of what happened. And it's funny because I remember a lot of people were wondering how Thor was in the Avengers. Did you see the first Thor?
No.
So the Rainbow Bridge, if you will, was destroyed. And so at the end of Thor is never, quote unquote, going to see Jane again. He can't make it back to Earth. But in Avengers, he just lands on the Quinjet. And somebody's like, or Loki says to him, "Oh, I see you've conjured up enough black magic to get you to Earth again." And it was like, "Oh, okay, that happens."
just making up rules, yeah.
Right.
That's why it's not a great movie.
So yeah, but maybe there's something like that too.
Yeah. Who's a wild card in this whole thing? Wild cards. Who are people sleeping on?
It's interesting because I think the card played in Civil War was Ant-Man because he is only in that one scene.
See, I would say Black Panther. I think Black Panther steals a lot of the show.
Yeah, but we had knowledge of that, you know. Whereas like we knew Ant-Man.
We didn't know his role.
The only thing we saw of Ant-Man was shots of him running in the airport. Right when those two teams are running towards each other to start fighting, we saw that.
Yeah,
from Ant-Man, but when you think of the random wild card in Civil War, Ant-Man was just thrown in one scene and then never seen again.
Yeah,
and then
had a big impact. No,
and of course the genuine shock of seeing Giant Man. Whereas Spider-Man was in the trailer, we knew Black Panther was going to have a presence.
That's fair.
And so we were excited about that, but the wild card was how Ant-Man was played. I think so. I wonder. The Russos might have something like that up their sleeve.
Just plot-wise, I think Winter Soldier is fascinating in this movie for reasons that you touched on earlier, just because the entire reason, pretty much, that this whole thing, like the team was even split up to begin with, was because of him. And now that he is a crucial member, also this, I mean, let's just call it like it is, if this is for sure Captain America's last movie, there's a lot of emotional weight attached to Bucky, especially if he does decide to pick up the mantle. Do you think we'll see that? If Steve Rogers dies, do you think we'll see Bucky pick up the mantle? Obviously,
No.
Falcon is also.
It might
another
happen like in
individual.
Avengers 4.
Yeah.
But I think it'll just sort of be about mourning him,
If
but not necessarily about who's the next Captain America already. That would be pretty quick, I think.
if Steve Rogers dies,
He's toast.
do you think we'll get another Captain America movie with obviously a different Captain America? But
I don't know.
that's interesting. Or do you think they utilize it maybe like they do Hulk?
I think they would do that more so.
I think Hulk is a wild card in this because there have been rumors of maybe he's stripped of his power and this and that at some point in the film.
Did you just make that up? Or?
No, that's a legitimate rumor.
Wow.
There's the person that does it in the comics it's actually Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer is so powerful that he's fighting Hulk and is just like, I'm tired of you. The Hulk is no more. Like he just takes the Hulk away from Bruce Banner. And people have talked about that the Infinity Stones have that or are powerful enough to do something like that. I think he's interesting because he is, of all the people who are brute force, is not something I think wins this war, but I think the Hulk is powerful enough.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
When we do our teams.
I think the Hulk is powerful enough to play a crucial role. But also, with that being said, too, I think you're right. We're going to get into some of this conversation. But, I think other wild cards in the movie, I think we might walk away having a greater appreciation, not that I don't already, but a greater appreciation for somebody like Doctor Strange, just because of what he can do with this whole situation.
Scarlet Witch, too.
Absolutely. Hers is a little bit different. In fact, they should be good buddies with each other. Anyways, should we just get into this thing? Our fantasy draft. Explain what this is and how it came to be. For those that don't know.
Game it's a fantasy draft and there are tiers. You've probably seen this kind of thing on Facebook. We have $15 to spend. There's a $5 tier, which pretty much has the primary Marvel characters. There's a $3 tier, and then there's a $1 tier of some of the unknowns, like a Hawkeye or whatever. So we'll reveal the dollar amount and then the teammate that we picked, as opposed to just kind of. If you want, we might put it in the description of the podcast what the actual listings are. But
yeah, we can do that.
But,
should we just read them off real quick?
Maybe people. Yeah, maybe people will get mad if we don't.
Okay, I need to pull it up because
I was gonna say
exit out of it. Hang on, I'll find it. So this is all based on Collider put together this list. Obviously, it's nothing new, like Ryan said, but so just if you guys want to play along and make your lists along with us, why am I still not able to find it?
Because Collider posts a ton of pictures.
God darn it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, now we have to fill airtime. All right, I found it. Okay. So here's your list. Your $5 tier goes like this. Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Black Panther, and Scarlet Witch are all 5-tier members. You do have a salary cap of $15. Did you mention that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Salary cap of $15. Your $3 tier, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Vision, Ant-Man, Shuri, Gamora, and then Rocket and Groot are one person in that $3 tier. In your $1 tier, you have Star-Lord, Falcon, War Machine, Hawkeye, Drax. Is it Okoye? Okoye.
Maybe.
Black Widow, Winter Soldier, Nebula, Mantis, and Wong. All right, so how do you want to read these off?
I'm just going to reveal mine, and I'll walk you through my decision. So I think...
Let reveal yours, and then I'll reveal mine, and then we'll discuss it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have two $5.
Okay.
Scarlet Witch and Hulk.
Interesting
I have
Hulk decision.
I have one $3, and that's Vision. And then I have two $1, Wong and Mantis.
Interesting. I see what you're doing there. We'll talk about it in a second. I only have one $5 tier pick, and that is Iron Man.
What?
I have three. Is that right? Yeah, three $3 picks.
All right.
Doctor Strange, Shuri, and Vision. And I have one $1 pick, and that's Winter Soldier.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about it. So to me, I'm going to give my take on yours, and you can give your take on mine, then we'll walk through it. My take on yours, I see a lot of mysticism in
Yeah.
yours. I see a lot of magic going on, but you're also teaming that with literally the most brute force you could possibly have.
Yes.
That's my takeaway from yours.
So I think you waste money with Doctor Strange. So I went
Why is that?
I went discount Strange because Wong can do literally everything Strange can do.
But he doesn't have the Eye of Agamotto.
He could just borrow it.
Just making up rules now.
He had the Eye of Agamotto before Doctor Strange did. So
Okay.
I don't think that's not enough. I'm going discount Strange, saving money, and I've got Wong. What was your last Winter Soldier? So my whole thing is, for one, I think we both agree for the most part. Get just the humans out of there. So Black Widow and Hawkeye.
Yeah, no,
we
not needed.
we don't want you.
Not needed, sort of. I can make a case, but
I also don't want anybody that uses bullets. He has impenetrable skin, so that's part of the reason why I don't get why you chose Winter Soldier.
That's actually a good point here. So this is, I feel like we have to throw out this idea of why are you making this list, and it's interpretive. Obviously, I'm making the best team of Avengers for $15 that I can. Not specifically to take on Thanos, but I mean, yeah, we're throwing that in there as well.
The game is to beat Thanos.
We're throwing that in there as well. And yes, you're right. You need more than just you need more than brawn or bullets to do this.
So the reason why I picked Hulk is I like to think that Hulk, for one, they can the physicality, they can actually maybe fight, or at least long enough to distract Thanos to where all of these other people can mess with him.
Right.
Whereas it would have to be quick, because it also depends on what Thanos we're talking about. Do we have fully equipped Infinity Gauntlet Thanos?
Right.
Does he only have 1 stone? Does he only have 3 stones? It just totally depends. But I want Hulk to at least match him physically and maybe be a distraction. That way, people like Scarlet Witch and Wong and Vision, who's insanely powerful as well, can get in there and make some noise. And Mantis has the ability to understand what he's thinking and feeling as well. So I think that's a component that might be. And the only problem is Mantis has to be able to get to him.
Right.
So I think Wong could throw her through a portal or something and get her on top of him while Hulk is beating the shit out of him.
Yeah. So my thoughts, predominantly, I didn't go discount Strange with Wong for the sole fact that he does have the Eye of Agamotto, and I'm not just going to make up rules. So I'm going to say that
they all share it.
I'm going to say that, but he's also just the Sorcerer Supreme in general. He's the chosen one, Ryan Snelling. And I think that's sort of my strongest pick there. It's actually a fucking bargain that he's even $3 to begin with. I get why they do it. They wanted top billing for those big people. Listen, I'm sorry. Captain America at $5 has no place even in this discussion, especially when you can get essentially the better version of Captain America, Winter Soldier, for $1. So I picked Iron Man and Shuri because, listen, Iron Man by himself not going to do much in this whole thing, except for the fact that Iron Man, I'm not buying Iron Man. I'm buying Tony Stark, because Tony Stark is smart as shit. Not only did he build he built a lot of the people on this list.
Right.
War Machine, Vision. He's smart enough, and you combine that with Shuri, who has this technology he's not even aware of. The brains there. First of all, they could create an infinite army to potentially battle. Obviously, I don't think they'd stand a chance physically against.
Does War Machine have
Thanos?
The blast from his gloves?
I have no idea.
Like, I know he still has an arc reactor and it powers the suit, but he has like machine guns,
Right? Rockets and this and that.
But I don't remember if he has them on his hands.
He's Diet Iron Man. We know that.
Well, I don't know. Just I would kind of use if he well, that's what I'm saying. If he has those blasts on his hands, I would pick him over Iron Man,
Right?
Because it's a discount.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not buying Iron Man here. I can't buy somebody who whose batteries can run out. Does that make sense? But yeah, my whole thing with Winter Soldier, Iron Man and Shuri together can build him a suit, and then Doctor Strange can bless it with some sort of magic.
Oh, all that can happen, but Doctor Strange can't just hand the Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah, there's a reason why Monk or whatever his name is, why he didn't just grab the Eye of Agamotto to begin with. Vision is also another bargain buy because I don't even think we know how strong he is. We just know he's very strong. I also don't know what it looks like if Vision doesn't have an Infinity Stone.
Isn't it impossible for Vision to just get punched because he can just...
I think technically it is, yeah.
That's because he would just become invisible and the punch would just be thrown through him.
We obviously know he's at least... We know he's stronger than all of the Avengers, maybe not as strong as Hulk, but we know he's as strong as Thor because he can pick up Thor's hammer.
Right.
It could also be because he has that Infinity Stone. I think there is a discussion to be had with this whole movie of if the Infinity Stone is removed from Vision's head, yeah, maybe he can die, but I don't think he will die because even in Civil War, he was alluding to the fact that he's trying to find... He said in that movie that he's obsessed with the idea of figuring out the Infinity Stones and also figuring out a way for him to exist without it.
I was going to say, we haven't seen... Have we seen Vision in any of it other than that scene where he's getting destroyed?
Yeah, I don't... Well, there's a scene where he's like in a human form. Did you see that?
Right.
There's a scene where he's...
I think that's early on in the movie.
I want white Vision. You know what I'm talking about? You know,
that's racist.
Vision where he turns all white?
No.
There's a version of him, a version of Vision that exists where he's just completely white. I want that in this movie.
Huh.
It's interesting. Shout out to Paul Bettany. He's in Infinity War and Solo. And he's in Legion.
Andy Serkis is in all three of the top franchises.
There you go. Still can't get a fucking...
Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and the MCU.
Still can't get a fucking Oscar nomination.
He should have been in Harry Potter. He would have been perfect in that universe as well.
He still has an opportunity in Fantastic Beasts.
He could also be in Star Trek. That would be great. Andy Serkis is fucking dope.
Yeah, he's
great. And he's in Planet of the Apes, which is one of the best trilogies of the decade.
I would say of all time. I think it's a great trilogy.
Yeah, you're right.
That's all I've got for Infinity War stuff. I'm super excited. We need to... I'm just going to... I know it's not my space to do this, but we need to at least throw out that I want to have a complete Fallout discussion podcast.
Well, yeah.
Movie episode.
That could be weekly for next Monday, just a movies episode.
No.
Why?
Well, because I'm sure there's going to be other stuff to talk about. We can do...
Important as Infinity War.
Kanye West releasing an album is more important than...
Christ.
No, it's not. Oh my God, I forgot to tell you a quick story, and this will be fun to wrap up on. So today, I asked Kayla, I was telling her about Infinity War and people, it's been fun to sort of debate the box office for this movie, for the opening weekend. And I said, what is your pick for the box office? And she goes, I don't know. I don't really have a gauge. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I don't know like what's high and what's low. And I'm like, well, just for fun, just throw. And I didn't give her a reference of like, this is typically, she said, I don't know, $7 million. I was like, what? I tried as hard as I could not to be that guy. And somebody was like, oh, like, but it was just, so when I finally told her, like, my guess is I think it's 257 million.
You said 56.
256 million. And she was like, well, I don't know what it is. And then I was like, people are going out on a limb and saying that it could make 300 million. And that's not that far fetched. Like, let's be real. Like 256 or 257 or whatever. That's a great number, but the people who are saying 300 million, it is not out of the realm of possibility that this could hit 300.
No, it's not. I said 265. But yeah.
Everybody knows that I'm a soothsayer when it comes to No, that's a Rotten Tomato score. Let's predict a
79.
Rotten Tomato score. Rotten Tomato score for this movie.
94%.
Okay. What is there a realm of possibility where this movie isn't good?
No.
Nothing has led me to like.
There's not a possibility that it isn't good.
Okay.
No.
If you could predict a criticism coming away from this movie, like obviously it could have things wrong with it, but what's one thing that in your mind right now you're like, I might have a problem with this?
I have no idea.
So
I really have no clue.
so I after rewatching Marvel films lately, in my opinion, I think Age of Ultron is better than the first Avengers. I think it's a better movie. I think it's a better story. And my biggest criticism with the first Avengers movie is, to me, it never really feels like I'm watching like a meaningful movie. It just seems like I'm watching people like meet each other for the first time
Well, yeah, that's
and go and do some stuff. Like
sure.
that's I still want this to be a story. Like I still want it to have a
that's what it
narrative
had
to
to
it.
be at the time.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a better version of that. Somebody could have done a better version of
Sure.
that.
I've said that before too. I said depending on the day, I'd rather watch Age of Ultron than the Avengers. I've said that plenty too.
Yeah. I
Um,
just don't want the movie to be a bunch of shots of people running from place to place to place and fighting. Like I want to have some emotional attachment.
I wouldn't be surprised if we stay in those 3 areas.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about earlier, like
because
other set pieces.
there is so much to do and because you have so many characters to work with. I mean, there might be an area where they try to make it as simple as possible, and I could see it maybe coming down to location or something like that.
What do you think we would possibly get from, first of all, last question here. How many post-credit scenes do you think we're going to get? 2, that's not how many I think we're going to get, but second question with that, what do you think those post-credit scenes are going to consist of?
I think there'll be 2,
Okay.
and I think one of them will be sort of like a what's next for Captain Marvel,
Okay.
and I think the next one will be a direct lead into the second Avengers movie in the way that
That's coming out next year. Am I right about that?
next May, yeah.
Yeah.
So in the way that at the end of I think it was at the end of Ant-Man, or was it Age of Ultron, where it's Falcon and Cap and Buck is in the factory.
Yeah.
That whole Buck.
It had the essentially
It was just
a
the
preview
scene,
from Avengers 3.
It was just the scene from Civil
Avengers
War.
3.
And I think it'll be that. I think we're gonna get like maybe a different version or one scene from Avengers 4.
Yeah.
We're not gonna necessarily know it, maybe, but I think it could potentially be that.
So I think we're going to get 3. I love how I'm saying it with like such certainty. Again, more
Where would they go?
speculation. I think we're going to get fucking Guardians of the Galaxy had like 10. They had like 5 of them. I think we're going to get 3. Yeah, Guardians 2 had like 5 post-credit scenes.
I forgot.
I think we're going to get 3. I think we're going to get one.
Yeah, you're right.
Like you said, of something with Captain Marvel for sure to hype the new film. I think we're going to get something that's maybe a little bit more fun, even though it might not match the tone. Just for shits and giggles, I have no idea what it would be. I think the last, once the credits roll, I think we're going to get the longest post-credit scene we're ever going to have gotten. That's like, oh, you thought the movie was over. Exactly what you're saying. Like we're gonna show you a scene from this next film, but it's going to be something. Again, this is a celebratory movie. These post-credit scenes, Marvel fucking laid, like, it's something that's a part of their brand. It would be so cool to reward fans with that last scene to be like something really significant, like longer form.
I will leave everybody with this. Disney is 100% buying Fox. We will get the X-Men in Phase 4. Jay Williams, where can the people find you online?
That would actually be pretty hilarious. That would actually be one of the dopest moves. Not a Fox thing, because I just don't buy into that.
Hold on. Did you see the report that came out like yesterday?
What's that?
Fox rejected Comcast's last bid.
Yeah.
And their bid was 16% higher than Disney's.
Yeah.
Because it was something about, like, they were going to pay way more for each share, but it was something about one of the agreements that they didn't see eye to eye on.
Yeah.
So they went with Disney, even though Disney's paying a lot less than Comcast.
Right.
So now it feels a little bit more solidified.
For sure.
So those gears are now finally turning. And my issue was always that we didn't actually know and we were getting ahead of ourselves. But now I feel a lot more comfortable doing this kind of thing.
So in my heart of hearts, I need to remind people, I just want to say this, that I was championing the likelihood, of Spider-Man coming over to Marvel when people were still saying that it was like, there's no way it could happen.
Was it documented somewhere, Jay?
I think so. I think it was on a podcast somewhere, but I also have CT, so I don't know. In my heart of hearts, I love this idea of trading characters and stuff like that. And I think I would love there to be something that was so under the table, so kept secret, locked away in a vault that we didn't know about it, that we will see somebody, I don't know who it could be, walk on screen. I'm not even necessarily saying it's going to be somebody that's going to have a bunch of standalone movies, just somebody they borrowed even before this Fox deal is done, to where people can be like, holy shit, whether it's a Galactus, Silver Surfer is it's
debunked.
Sort of debunked, right? I mean, we're pretty sure he's not going to be like a prominent character in the movie. It would be so cool to get like some sort of scene if they did a deal for somebody in the X-Men universe. Just one person. Even if how much would you freak out if you saw like fucking Hugh Jackman just walk on screen or something like that?
I would freak the fuck out.
Yeah. Because we can't undersell or underplay how big of a deal Wolverine was to the Avengers.
But I would also freak out if I just saw Cyclops run in, because of just what it would mean for that bridge, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be nuts to see a completely different actor just like wearing those goggles. That'd be crazy. In the suit, in the Navy suit that goes over his head.
Yeah.
I would like, what was that X-Men that was on TV? There was a cartoon. Not Ultimate X-Men. There was a particular
X-Men Evolution?
I think that was it.
Yeah.
Isn't that the suit where he has the navy all up to his head? And
Yeah,
it's just yellow?
That's like the really classic, Cyclops suit.
Yeah, I guess it was the classic one. I would love to see that. That'd be dope.
Yeah, I almost wouldn't want it to be like an X-Men that on the nose, for this whole fact that it would be really confusing with Phoenix coming out, which is why I think it would be really fucking cool to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, considering his chapter has essentially been closed in that universe.
Right.
It would just mean, you want to talk about a rock star like coming into the building? The only thing that could I'm just going to say this. The only thing that could potentially overshadow a movie we just saw would be fucking Wolverine walking on the screen and like his claws coming out. Like I would be like, Wolverine can't beat Thanos, but I would be like, holy shit.
I know. It'd be amazing.
I would literally jump out of my seat and be like, let's go.
I think the whole theater would erupt.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That'd be the best cinematic moment in existence. The day we saw Wolverine show up in Infinity War. Can you imagine?
Hey, I'll do you one better.
Oh my God.
What if Darth Vader came on the screen?
Why is that so funny to you?
Because it just wouldn't happen.
That's so shitty.
It just wouldn't happen. But like somewhere, some person out there is like, well, we all know that Disney's ultimate plan is to combine the Star Wars and Marvel universe.
That'd be so shitty.
It would be so dumb. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm just
that would break the internet too, considering Peter Parker referenced Empire Strikes Back in Civil War.
I would be the first one on the internet that would be like, not my Star Wars. See what Ryan Johnson's doing?
My God.
Fucking up everything. Okay, let's get out of here. I've gone wacky.
How did we make this 3 hours with 2 topics?
You got to take 30 minutes away because
It's still pretty healthy. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at WhatUpSnell.
Is that it? That's all you're going to do?
Sure.
Why not? You can find me online at J Williams, J to the A to the Y to the E. Twitter and Instagram, it's the same for both. Tons of album reviews out there for you guys. Check them out. I just did a review for that Loom album that we talked about. Front runner for my album of the year right now. That's how good it is. Every single person I've talked to that's checked it out, even you surprisingly, has really, really enjoyed it. So check out the review. You got some new music to check out. That's it. That's all I've got. Legion recaps going on.
You can find me on
you're gonna do
More Than Music coming out this Tuesday.
Oh God.
I'm gonna be talking about The Color Morale.
No, it's not coming out this Tuesday. I don't even know if it's gonna come out this week.
Thanks so much, guys.
Can we do a Atlanta recap? Or not recap, but an Atlanta TV episode, like review of the season?
Well, yeah.
I'm gonna need you to watch it. I need you to watch.
When was the finale?
It hasn't happened yet. We still need to record our Mr. Robot finale episode. I'm so mad at you about that.
I still have like 2 of those episodes. I think it's the last 2 of
Will
Robot.
you please promise me that you will watch it this weekend? Legitimately,
No, I have no time.
The finale, yes, you do. When you're going to bed, you can just lay in your bed and watch it.
It's on the wrong TV. My DVR's in the living room. I don't sit in there.
We could watch it right now. Well, not right now, but we can watch it here. That finale is still one of the best episodes of television I've seen this year. So good on.
You saw it last year, but okay.
No, it was this year. Wasn't the finale this year? I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. All right. Kevin Marks, come back to our Facebook group. We'll see you guys later. Goodbye.